Orange tea.
Hey, everybody. I'm Mike.
I'm Bob. Tim is muted.
No.
Uh-oh. And frozen.
I am Andy.
And this is Whiskey Wednesday, and Board Game Rundown is in the house. As you can see, everybody, we've got a special guest with us. It is Andy Kim, the designer of Spill that was published by Smirk and Dagger. Thank you for joining us, Andy.
No problem. I'm glad to be here.
You picked a really great topic today, which we'll get into later. But just briefly, so everybody knows what Andy picked, it is games that need more love, which is always a wonderful topic.
Mm-hmm. And you put in a good criteria on it, which then I implemented for myself, which it can't be in the top 1,000 of BGG, right? It's got to be below that.
Yeah, I set that sort of for myself. I just passed it by you guys to say, is that a fair way of doing it?
That's a very fair metric.
Definitely.
That's a great metric, and it actually helped me a lot with my list because
it did make narrowing my list of like 12 down. So yes.
Yeah.
Now I did cheat on one of them, so I'll get to that. I'll say why I did, but
it's your list. You can do whatever you want with your list. They could be in the top. They could be the top 20 games in BGG, and you'd be like,
get some love.
Like, I just wish more people liked it, though.
I thought it was interesting because last week we actually covered mechanics that we hate. And so what the world really needs, though, is more love. And that's why you're here. Great choice of topic.
Well, it also kind of describes our relationship with board games. It's a hate-love kind of thing sometimes, you know?
Right. Well, that is true. That is true.
For sure.
It's also good because we have done like a couple underrated games lists, but just by calling it games that need more love, I approached it from a very different angle and perspective this time. So
nice. Okay.
And ended up with a very different list than what we have done before.
Different mind state.
Cool.
Yeah, we should say hi to all of our regulars.
Yeah.
We got everybody with us.
What's funny is Andrew says he never makes the opening, and apparently now neither do I, since I'm covered through it.
Let's go.
Hey, we got Andrew Stiles in the house. Welcome, sir.
Hello.
David
Designer
saying hi to
extraordinaire.
David saying hi to our irregulars. But yeah, we got a packed house. Probably because you picked a good topic. That always brings more people. So
and a good guess.
Ready for some love.
Absolutely.
I told all my friends and family, so I'm sure they're jumping on too.
Hey, even better. More the merrier. Let's go.
Even better.
Now that just means we've got to be on our A game. They already know Andy. We've got to impress, you know.
So, Andy, of course, we mentioned kind of what people would probably know you most from, and that is you designed the Spill, the co-op game published by Smirk and Dagger.
Yep.
Which we actually reviewed and thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah. I really enjoyed your review of it. There it is right there, sitting on my shelf. But I think I signed Tim's copy of his.
It's really funny how we met Andy because I had just gotten some of those games from Smirk and Dagger. Like he gave us some games for review and stuff like that. And I was at our booth at Gen Con last year, and that's when we had like the wheel and the giveaways and stuff like that. And I was showing somebody, I don't remember who it was, but I was showing one of you guys or Dan or Spencer all the games, like, oh, I'm so excited about, and I pulled a Spill out, and Andy, I didn't know who he was or anything like that. He goes, hey, that's my game. And for a second, my brain's like, no, this is my game.
Yeah, he just gave
But
I remember this exchange.
But then I'm like, oh no, like, wait, you designed this game? And you're like, oh yeah. And then I think I immediately was like, oh, very cool. Like when you sign it, you were very kind and very friendly. And it was It was just kind of a really wild like way to meet a designer. One of my favorite ways that I've met a game designer so far.
It was very random and happenstance for sure.
And I actually won a game off of your wheel too.
Oh,
That's
sweet.
right.
Yeah,
Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, Umbravia. I won a copy of Umbravia off your wheel. So
Nice.
Here you go from
I thought that was a fair
Banosaurus.
exchange. It was a fair exchange. A game for a signature. So
I'll do that all day long, man. Yeah, that's great.
I'm so glad we did that wheel. I met a guy at working the Hachette booth, and I looked at him like, "You look really familiar." He was like, "Didn't you guys have that booth with the wheel last year?" Like, yeah, you guys give awesome high fives, and I was like, "Yeah." So I gave him another high five, free of charge.
It better have been awesome
It was awesome
because now we have a reputation to maintain.
And just a quick throwback to last week. Remember, one of my things I don't like was the boring tiebreakers. I kind of like this one. I go with it.
Oh, the one with the longest hair. Get out of here.
That's a great tiebreaker.
Get out of here.
It's the longest beard hair, isn't it?
Well,
Isn't that how it goes?
You could add your head hair to your beard hair, and we'll see whose is longer.
I'm just making stuff up.
And this is me just sitting on the sidelines watching. That's why I got to not leave it to a tie.
Oh. Hey, Tim,
So-
Darwin's Journey is on BGA now.
Have fun.
It's not a
oh,
fan.
is it? Oh,
It is. It's a great game. Tim loves it.
So
It's a
Andy,
great game that I do not love.
I definitely want to ask you about. I have a couple specific design questions I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
But before I ask those, how'd you get into games and how'd that become, designing games?
So, like a lot of people, I got into it through Catan. Like a lot of people, I was kind of into board games like Monopoly and Scrabble. My wife and I played a lot of Scrabble, but my friend, her friend actually, after we got married, introduced us to Catan. And I don't know what this game is. And I was playing, and I was like, this is fantastic. I've never played a game like this before. So I told all of my friends, I said, if you're going to get me anything, I want you to get me Catan for my birthday or Christmas or whatever. So my sister-in-law got me Carcassonne, not Catan. So I was like, oh, this isn't Catan. I was a little disappointed. But then I looked at the back of the box, I read it, and I was like, hey, I don't know, this might be okay. And then I played it, and then anyways, that just opened up a rabbit hole, and I just got into all these games, and my friends were showing me all these like Ticket to Ride and everything, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's the
so that got
gateway,
me-
right?
Yeah, so that got me into it. And then in terms of design, so I was sort of really getting into games. My collection was growing and growing. It wasn't quite this big yet, but I had about 30 games at that time. And I wasn't really thinking of game design that much, but I remember taking my kids and the family to the zoo. We have a big zoo in Toronto, and we went to the zoo, and we forgot where we parked the car. And the parking lot is huge. And so we were looking around, and we're just trying to find the car. And in my mind, I was like, hey, this could be a game. So I started thinking of mechanics to put into this game, and my first design was this game called Valet. Some of my designer friends will remember this whole game, but it was this tiling game where you're trying to basically find cars and cars that were parked in the parking lot and find them. So that was my first game, and I guess I caught the design bug and just started designing.
I thought for a second you were about to say that your first design was an IP game based on Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh boy. Oh boy. Mike, did you make that up?
Well, how'd you guess?
Okay. Well, because it was bad. That's how I guessed.
Okay.
About how to not being able to find your car.
Oh boy. Mike at Gen Con. Also a game about Mike at Gen Con. Can't find my car.
Well, yeah, correct. That was Tim's story, wasn't it?
No, I found my
You knew
car.
exactly where his car was.
Yeah, I did. Sure did.
Okay,
I
so
actually did consider Dude, Where's My Car, actually, but I knew that was an IP, so I was like, never published a game, I would never get that IP. So
Right.
Reasonable expectations. I get it. Okay, so the theme for the spill was that Did you design that game based off the theme first or the mechanics first?
No, actually, it revolved around that dice tower. Actually, so
Dice Towers first. That was my second question.
yeah, the dice tower came first. It was actually I was on a drive home from a board game meetup actually, and on the way home, like I love dice towers. We have about 3 or 4 of them in the house, and when we were looking at, I was thinking of a dice tower, and I was, hey, I wonder if I can make a dice tower that goes in 4 different directions. So that was my thought, and then I got home. And I think my wife thought I was crazy because I just started cutting up cardboard and making this contraption. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I put this down, and then I threw 4 dice in, and each die came out on all 4 sides. So it just worked perfectly. And I was like, "It works." And she's like, "What works?" "This." And then I showed her. So I was like, "Now what do I do with this?"
Right.
Right. So at first I thought of some themes. I thought of like a D&D fantasy type thing where the dice tower was like a portal, and like monsters were coming out of that portal, and you had to basically secure the portal and defeat it. But I sort of thought, there's a lot of fantasy games out there. I sort of wanted to stray away from that. So I asked my wife, like, what behaves in this manner? Like, what behaves like this? And she just, like, sort of just off the cuff just said, I don't know, like an oil rig spilling oil into the ocean. And I was like,
Wow.
huh.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
And that's
wow.
it started. And then I thought, well, there's ocean animals. We need to rescue them and stuff. And just sort of that came out of it. So what you see in the final product is not much different from what was originally thought of when we when I came up with it. Couple of the things that Kurt and I worked on is like just a lot of fine tuning, end game mechanics, and stuff like that. But a lot of what you see there is a lot of it's from original design.
Wow.
So I think what's
I can play it again
amazing
soon.
about this is, so first, my second question was going to be, at what point did the dice tower become an integral part of the design? Well, it was first.
First,
That's pretty
and
integral.
most designers that we've talked to, it's either the theme or the mechanics are first, but you actually made a component that then turned into mechanics and theme, and you actually made it feel very thematic, which I think is the most impressive part of all of it.
Thank you. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's just you can thank my wife for that, because the theme just worked so well when we put together. And then once we did that theme, we couldn't think of any other theme that would work. Like it just nothing else worked with it.
Right. Yeah. Once you see it on there, it's like, yeah, that's what it is.
And as someone that grew up Catholic, I appreciate a game that gives you a lot of guilt. And this game does. There's so much guilt. Like, oh, what
Sunday?
What cute little critter? What cute little critter are we gonna let die? Because we've gotta. Oh man. But no, the theme actually gives you such a sense of urgency, right? Like it's just even naturally. And no pun intended. But man, dynamite. Really good. Yeah, really good. Really good.
Yes, Tim. So you're gonna save the turtle because you hate seahorses. I get it.
Exactly. And then that is the conversation we tend to have around the table while playing it. It's like, really, what did they do to you? Even though that's the right move, you just still want them to feel bad.
Oh dear.
But yeah, this was a very fun kind of those that don't know, a very fun cooperative game of where these oil is spilling out of the dice tower or out of the oil drill, and you are trying to prevent animals from getting sopped up in it. So you're going around saving animals, and you've got different special powers. Very, very clever. I'm still amazed that the component in the dice tower came first. That's wild.
Yeah. There's just a bunch of things that I think that I'm not sure. There's a couple of other designs I've been working on where the component came first, and we're trying to a lot of them, again, my wife's ideas, but my wife has this thing of basically she comes up with these ideas and she just turns to me and says, that sounds like a great idea. You should go make it.
You know, Andy, I think I've heard you say that on a podcast before. It might have been, oh gosh, was it Ludology maybe? You were interviewed on a podcast. I was listening to you.
Yeah.
And you were telling us, so I was like, I know I've heard this story. And I couldn't remember if I had asked you, like, just from us, you know, like at a very brief conversation at some point in time or whatever, or maybe it was both, but I just love it. I love hearing it again. Because I think that is one of the things I love about getting to have the designers and publishers on is learning the origin story, right, of the games. Because I'm so jealous, like, oh my gosh, how you guys make these games and I love playing them. And it's like, how do you guys even do it? And so I love hearing how it happens. And it's just wild because it seems like everything happens differently. There's no, cookie cutter formula for it. And you just don't know where inspiration's going to strike. And I love, I'm friends with you on Facebook. So I see, like, I just love how involved you are with your family and like, they're all, what I mean? Like every, it feels like everybody's participating and it's like a real team, a unit over there. And that's great. I love it.
Yeah. I got my kids involved in gaming pretty early. They're not, nice. I think they're more, they're a huge Genshin Impact.
My daughter is obsessed right now with Genshin Impact. So yes.
So I recently got the Genshin Tarot board game. I don't know if you've seen this thing.
Oh, no, I have not, but I'm probably going to get it soon.
It's actually pretty good. I'll tell you that much. It's actually really good. Just plugging Brother Ming games. You should look it up. It's pretty cool.
I will look that up.
Hey, what was the dice tower originally made of?
It was actually a cardboard dice tower.
That's what I was
guessing. So I it's quite the contraption. It's just I folded a piece of cardboard in 4 directions, and then I cut up little ramps in the middle so that, because I wanted to sort of funnel the dice into the middle so that there was no bias, I guess, like when you drop, because like I didn't want people to drop it onto the corner and say, oh, okay, so it'll roll out one way. I wanted it to funnel. So that's why there's 2 of these funnels in the dice tower, so that it basically goes right down the center.
It works perfectly too. Like there was never, the dice flew out of one of the areas, or like they always perfectly fall into one of those 4 quadrants.
It felt like always the worst quadrant. Like, come on.
Oh yeah.
Like that one.
That's by design. That's supposed to happen.
What's really fun about that, and because we enjoy like really difficult co-ops, is everybody can't, it's useful when you can kind of cluster together and like team up on an area and clear it out. But that means you're not reaching another area, which could potentially, get overrun. And you're just like, oh, like, I'll try to handle this by myself, I guess. But you've got to, keep trying to, just stave off, defeat as much as you can. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoy it. I'm glad you guys enjoy it so much.
Oh, here we go.
You have to. Ooh.
How much play testing did we do? So I did. Well, initially, I did a lot of play testing with my family, and then we brought it out to just some of my friends and stuff. But in terms of the amount of play testing, we did some play testing at Proto-TO and other. I can't remember, but truth be told, it's probably, out of all the games that I've been designing, it probably didn't get play tested as much as some of the other games that I've worked on.
Sure.
And it just, I remember when Kurt saw it for the first time at a Proto-TO, which is one of the prototyping gaming conventions, that not a convention but like a meetup in Toronto that we have. Well, Kurt was up there, and I remember we had it out, and we were play testing it, and I remember Kurt walking by, and he was just kind of staring at it. And at this point, I had already met Kurt at Origins the couple years before, and I saw him there, and I was like, "Do you want to try it?" Well, he was just looking at it, and then he just looked at it and says, "I want in on this game next." And
Nice.
so he sat down, he played maybe 3 rounds of it, and he just said he wants to sign it. And I was just
Oh,
floored.
wow.
Awesome.
I was just couldn't believe what I heard.
Wow, that's amazing. Was this
Yeah.
your first signed game?
That was my first signed game.
Yeah.
I'd never experienced anything like that. It was just, I was through the moon. I remember calling my wife and I said, someone wants to sign my game. So
That's so great, man. I love
Awesome.
that. And Kurt's like a great dude on
He
top
is.
of that, right? Like I like him
Yeah.
even before that, you know, hearing that story, but it is really cool. That's got to feel very validating, right? You put a lot of time and effort into it. The other part of David's question was there any big changes in the game due to playtesting? Was there anything that you maybe had in there that got whittled out, or
there was a couple of things, like the tool cards, or the item cards that you have. So originally they were event cards that basically randomly came out, and it just made it too random and too punishing. So we almost just took them out, but then I had the idea of making them item cards. And then so at first it was kind of like, Pandemic, where you just sort of have the cards in your hand and then you can play them out. But I didn't like the idea of, because you're cooperating, right? So you can't really have hidden information because everyone's going to tell everyone anyways, right?
Right.
So I was like, if everyone's going to do that anyways, then that's when I thought of, what if we just have a bunch of them out and then you can unlock the powers as you go.
Yeah.
Right. And that really stuck, and that made it more strategic, and allowing just the randomness to come from the oil itself.
And that was you're talking about that, and I remember specifically really enjoying that aspect of it, like because the planning, because now you're planning over here on the board, and you're planning on like what are we gonna, like, what's more important, when do we unlock this? I didn't mean to interrupt you, I just got excited.
Oh yeah, no, and we made sure every item, like I know some items are more favored than others, but like we tried to make it so that each item is really good, so that it's a punishing decision. It's like, oh, we can unlock this one, but this one's really good too. So some of them are situational, but when those situations show up, you're gonna wish you had them there, right? So
yes, for sure.
I love that you keep answering questions before I ask them, because I was going to ask if Kurt was the first person you pitched it to, and you didn't even pitch it to him. He just sat down and was like, I want that. But also, I totally forgot that fellow Toronto native, Katsia Howitson, did a mosaic of the spill. And I did not realize this was tagged on the BGG page. That's great.
I have that hanging up on my wall too. I just
awesome.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, I have to get that. So it was really cool.
So did you guys already know each other, or did she?
No.
Oh, nice.
No. It was just one of the games she selected, and I saw it on there. I'm like, oh my goodness, she's doing the spill. So I was just like, I have to get this calendar now. So
that's even better, right? Like that that's awesome. I love it.
She is a great person and a good friend, and we definitely love supporting her calendar.
And a super talented artist.
And she's going to be at QSCon next week, so we're going to see her. So say
hi to her. You know what? I've actually not met her, so I would love to. I would love to meet her and shake her hand, but that's one of those things. But tell her I said hi.
Oh, we will. We'll be like, you have a fan in Toronto.
Just one.
Just one. Everybody else is outside the city limits.
Good stuff. So you did say you were working on something else that you were excited about. You want to talk about
it? Again, it's funny because it's another thing where the component came first. And so my friend, who's a huge cuber, I think they're called, like the people who are enthusiasts of Rubik's Cube, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly like that. So he was pitching me an idea. Like he was like, you're the designer, so you make a game around this. And so he said, you should use the Rubik's Cube in a game. So I was trying to figure out how that would work. So I tried making like a cube that had like pips on it, so that it would be a rearrangeable die. So you can like change it and then you can roll it. So you can have like a 9 side, but then it would be 0 on one side and stuff like that. But I couldn't really think of a game where that would be good without people just melting their brains, because not everyone's into cubing, right? And
right.
Very limit the thing. So, but my wife again came up with the idea of what if you put letters on the cube. So these are letters, okay? And so what I did was we created this game called it's called Writer's Block, and so you can use the cube, and you have these polynomial shapes, and then I made it so that you can just basically cover it like this, so you can see.
Oh wow,
Oh, dude.
And then you place letters, and then you basically write words. And I wanted it so that you know how a lot of word games, especially Scrabble, you have an advantage if you know your 2 or 3 letter words, right?
Right.
I wanted to encourage longer words. So that's one of the things this game does. It just basically allows like the longer your word, the more points you're going to score, right? So we've tested it out, and I remember one of my friends who's really into word games. He completely broke it because he wrote this gigantic word and just no one could catch up. So we had to fix that a little bit. And so I made it balanced so that if you're into polynomial type games, you can compete with someone who's a wordsmith. So you know, depending on how you think, you can compete. Now, if you're good at both, you're going to destroy people. But
Sure.
that's how the game goes. So I'm looking for a publisher. I've been shopping around. No bites yet, but I'm really excited about it. Every person I've actually submitted it to Hippo Dice game design competition. I was one of the finalists. I didn't win, but Writer's Block was a finalist. So.
That's all. I mean, that's a good sign. You know, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
So how did you make that cube? Did you just buy like a Rubik's cube and peel all the stickers off of it and put letters on it?
I don't know if you've seen these sites. They have these Rubik's cubes where, like, let's say you have a wedding or something, and then you get married, and you have those photos, and you can put the photos of your wedding on there. I don't know if you've seen these things. Well, anyways,
it makes sense.
Yeah. So I found one of those sites. And the photo that I sent was these letters.
Oh.
Nice.
So that's what
they're probably like, what the heck does this person want? But I mean, I guess. My niece, who just went off to college at Purdue, she's a cuber. She, for a while, it was like a thing. Everybody for Christmas would get her like Rubik's cubes and like see how fast she could solve them. And, you know, because now there's all kinds of variations. You know, back in the 80s, you know, there was just one. It was it. But yeah, all kinds of stuff now.
Well, some of them are crazy. I've seen like one of my friend's son. He's becoming a cuber, and he has like these huge, like, I don't know, it's like 5x5 ones, and he's just doing them like that. I'm just like, I don't even know.
I don't know. Yeah, and then it's like do them one-handed. You know, do it. You know, like all kinds of stuff, and it's like you guys are crazy, and I'm jealous of your talent and your abilities.
Right? People like they look at it and they put their hands down and then they're down. Like what?
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wasn't there some guy recently that got this down to a Rubik's Cube solved in just over 3 seconds?
Yeah, I think that's the record now. I think it's 3 seconds. It's
a dude juggling 3 of them and solving them as he's juggling them.
I've seen that. That's a dude. That's crazy.
Crazy.
It really is.
Oh, I see a question in the chat that says, "Is there a Sudoku cube?" There is. There is a Sudoku cube. I actually have it. It's so hard. It's so ridiculously hard.
Nick's also made the funny comment that your secret weapon is an amazing wife.
Yeah,
I'm not so sure that it's soon going to become Mrs. Kim and Andy, the designer team. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say maybe not so secret a weapon anymore.
Yeah. No, I don't really keep it a secret.
No. Yeah, and the secret weapon is an amazing wife. I can vouch for that. But she's not a game designer.
I still find it really fascinating that the both of your game ideas have come from a very interesting component. And I love word games and polyominoes, so you had me at that mix, that's for sure.
I hope I can find a publisher though. If publishers are watching this, like, you know, call me up. I have a game idea for you.
Yeah, reach out. We will give you Andy's information for sure.
Yeah.
But
We'll
yeah,
have
that
his
sounds
name,
really
social
cool.
security number, mother's maiden name.
Right, all of those things.
But yeah, I think my game design philosophy has always been like I'm trying to create games that are just have that, like, it's just different. Like, you know, it might not, hopefully it's fun, but something that's just not out there. And so like the Spill was it was fun. It was a great cooperative game. And then for Writer's Block, my wife gave me the greatest compliment for this game, was that she said it's her favorite word game. And she loves word games, but she said it's her favorite one. So I was like, and she said, I'm not saying that because I'm your wife. And I was like, okay, well.
She's saying so it was her idea.
Yeah. Well, I can also vouch that your wife may also be your harshest critic at any given time. So,
yep.
But no, that's awesome, man. We will definitely be on the lookout for that, because yeah, I mean, it's so hard to stand out, right, in a crowd. You know, at Essen, right? There's thousands of games that are released at Essen every year. You've got to find a way to stand out, whether it's a unique mechanic or a unique combination of, mechanisms in a game, whether it's like crazy art or, theme, or some eye-grabbing component that, just kind of blows everybody away. And the thing with like the Spill, for example, is the table presence. You're at a convention, you're at a meetup or something, and people are playing games, and you've got something that stands up like that, and the vibrant colors, of the board and everything. And it's like, what is this? Like, people are going to stop and ask, whether they decide it's for them or not. They're already stopping and asking, and they're looking. And, we're not affiliated with them, but I like them. But Smirk and Dagger did you right, man. They did a really nice job of producing your game. I mean, you gave them a really good game, and they did it. They took, the ball across the goal line, right? They put really good art with it, and, really nice components. And
Guanchai.
What? Yeah, I remember Kurt calling me when he told me who the artist was, and when he mentioned Kwanchai Moria, I was just, oh, that's great. And then I hung up. I'm just like, they just got Kwanchai Moria for my game.
You're like, play it cool.
No big deal.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I love it.
Great.
That's so cool.
Tim, you're right. It is. There are
right.
over 3,000 games that come out every year. It is very difficult now for games to stand out, and that's why we should talk about games that need more love.
Yeah.
Great segue.
Look at that. I tee Mike up. He hits it almost, to the fairway. It's still kind of in the rough, between the fairway and.
I at least hit it to the ladies' tee. So.
No, okay, fair. Hey, you're better than me. I usually hit it backwards, so we're good.
Got to pay for that window in the clubhouse still.
That's it, man. That's it. I can't believe they didn't invite me back. But yeah, let's do this. Let's get to the list. Andy, I could listen to your stories all day, though, man. You're gonna have to come on and share more of them with us.
Hey, no problem.
I
love chatting with you guys.
But, depending, how much of a night owl you are, there's a possibility for Gab after our list here. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see how fast the list go. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But we'll probably start with Bob here and swing back to me. So we're gonna start with Bob's number 5, and we should probably talk about criteria and all that, right?
We could do it you could do it leading into his 5.
Let's do it then. Number 5.
Number 5. All right. So, yeah, we're talking about games that need more love. And Andy had said something about his picks all being above 1,000 on BGG. And that seemed like a great metric for measuring these. So it helped me narrow my list down because it was very long. But at number 5 from 2021, ranked 6,937.
Wow, you went deeper than I did.
I did, because I love Galaxy Hunters, and I think it needs more love.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I love how you have like your pilot, and he has all these different hexes of abilities, and you choose your mech, and they have different hexes with abilities on them, and then they mesh up together. and it's basically worker placement, but you can customize your worker to have all these different abilities and stuff. And it's, remember Dan and I used to joke about all the time because like the Galaxy Hunters, we used to call it the the Defenders.
This was the game. This was the game that somebody spilled a drink on of yours, right? And then they basically traded copies with you.
Game night, first night, they spilled their beverage on.
Oh no!
But he had backed it too, and literally the next time I saw him, he swapped pieces with me and fixed the destroyed piece. So, and my view, no harm, no foul. I mean, it's
yeah, big. No. While disappointing, very stand up of that person, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just a bunch of fun. Like I said, it's basically worker placement. You're going around planet to planet, trying to do different things, gain resources, fight different bugs and monsters and whatnot. But just the idea of having a pilot with these different abilities on there, and then matching it up with the different mechs, and then it pairing up with the abilities on there, it was just super, super neat. And nobody really knows about IDW, RIP, right there.
Yeah, they're gone. They're gone.
But
they are gone.
Whatever's out there's out there. I would recommend picking one up and giving it some love.
Yeah, man, poor Galaxy Hunters.
I know very little about this one. Like I've heard of it, but
no, you do have to I do recommend getting. There's a new ways to hunt expansion. I think that's what adds the pilots in. Because otherwise, you just have the mechs. But it makes it's phenomenal.
This looks cool.
Look
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. See, it's basically worker placement. You're just building those different planets into doing different things there. But yeah, you have big, cool pieces. And
what's crazy is if you look at that box and you're like, "Oh, it's a worker placement game," I'd be like, "What?
What?" Yeah.
I want to try this.
Yeah.
Yeah, these look like Transformers to me.
Yeah. Or
they look like BattleTech.
Yeah, I'm thinking BattleTech and stuff,
you.
but yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, BattleTech stuff. Andrew did ask, because he is a connoisseur, he wants to know if anyone is having a beverage. We always say that it is always an option, but not a requirement. But if anybody is having a special beverage that they would like to share or talk about, they are more than welcome to.
Yeah, I'm actually having La Agua de El Cart, which is actually just
Elkhart
filtered
City
water out of my tap. Yeah,
Elkhart City water
tonight.
I'm finishing off this Indiana whiskey tonight. It was given to us. I need to reach out to their marketing person because I would like to have him on. He's a gamer. And this is just called Just Whiskey. It's a silky smooth wheated bourbon. It's fine. It's not bad. It's definitely better than some of the stuff you've seen me drink on the show. But yeah, that's all.
Still on my Maker's Mark.
There you go.
I'm drinking from the tap of the Toronto area. Yeah.
So. The Water de Canada.
I think you got to say that in French though. In Toronto.
I don't know.
Yeah. It would not have. Let me just say though, Andy is so talented. It would not have surprised me if he had just busted out in fluent French, really quick.
That's one thing I'm not good. I'm not good with languages. I didn't do well in French.
Clearly, Mike isn't either.
It was a good wing there.
Hey, you did good. I knew what you meant. I knew where it was going once you said La Agua de El Cart.
I found it interesting that everybody mentioned weeded bourbons. Andy's Andrew Styles here, 1792. Your Indiana whiskey and Bob's, all some of my favorites, and weeded bourbons.
Well, I'm just gonna be the guy and say it's technically not a bourbon because it was made in Indiana. But this is made in my hometown, so I love it. I will always appreciate it. Right? Exactly. It is made in South Bend, Indiana, and
there you go.
Which is again my hometown. Born and raised, love it, proud of it.
Never left.
Never left. I kind of left for a few years and then came back, but it doesn't really count. Okay. So unlike Bob, I didn't dig down to the 6,000s. What I did was I started at 1,000 on BGG and I just started scrolling, right? And I got to the 2,600s and was like, I have plenty of games for this list. So that's where I stopped. I could have kept going because I felt like, because, like I think I see like 100 results at a time before I've got to change pages. And I probably could see, there was some pages where it's like 2 or 3 games. And then there's, you could go a couple hundred without something. And then it's like, oh, this one. And there's definitely several that I did not write down, even though I love them. But so I went with games that I think would be more appreciated by everybody else and not just me. But I do think they need more love. So I'm going to start with the lowest ranked game on my list, which is 2618. So 2618, and that is Equinox. This is I believe it's a Reiner Knizia game. You don't like it, Bob?
Not really, no.
Oh, I love Equinox.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of hidden knowledge, right? Like you've got your creature or cards for creatures, and you're playing them to basically either try to eliminate or prolong their survival, like through the game. And you're bidding on which ones you think are going to make it, and you're doing that based, on the information you have in your hand, because you know what cards you can tank and sabotage, and there's some, so you're strategically playing, stuff at different times. I just really enjoyed sort of the give and take with this. I think the game's got lovely art, wonderful components. I really enjoy the art and everything in there. I really like this game a lot. When I played it the first time, I was like, I need to have this game. Like, I really want this game. I believe we played it like 2 or 3 times in a row. Mike, you might have been there with me when we played it for the first time. We played it at Julia Con. Did you play it with me and Lonnie, and he had the big play mat out on the table? Do you remember that?
No, I played it. I played it, I think, at Caleb's old house. I thought one of you guys was there, but maybe not.
Anyways, I might have been there, like going, hey, you should play this game with me. But anyways, Equinox, I really love this game.
Yeah, I've only had a chance to play it once at my friend's place, and I remember enjoying it. I thought it was pretty cool. I would like to play it again to see what I think of it.
And it's not like, by any means like the perfect game or anything like that, or what I would say, it's like the most amazing game in the world. But I think it's a really good game. And I think that there's enough in this game that can bring in different people. If they can wrap their head around sort of the bidding and the card play, like you're in and you're good. And I think the artwork will bring people in too. Right?
It's classic Knizia too.
It is.
It is very classic Knizia.
Man, and he's just so good at what he does.
I don't avoid the game, but I wouldn't pull it off the shelf.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Hi, Mike. We should, like, real quick, just say hi to Mike, the host of QSCon.
We should. Buddy. We should. What's up, dudes? Next week. You guys will see him this time next week, and I will see him a week from tomorrow. Very excited.
Equinox is very clever. I like how you're actually trying to predict which monster is going to last the longest.
Yes.
That's really what you're bidding on. And I like games that have a prediction element to them.
That and how you can manipulate it though, right? Like there's that mitigation in there too. And that's like the really fun part is that back and forth play, because there's the mind games that go like, well, Tim seems like he's really trying to preserve this creature. So I feel like I should get rid of it because he's got a bidding stone. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, what are they doing? And there's fun ways you can like kind of bluff and juke with it. I just appreciated sort of the underlying complexity that isn't obvious there on the surface.
It's cool.
I want to add, I love bidding games. This game has my favorite bid tokens of any games. They feel like skipping stones. I don't know what else to call them, but they just feel wonderful in your hand.
Well, I don't know. I Skyrise is like the latest one I got. That has good bidding tokens.
Oh, you're right about that. That is a great call there. And I also love that game. So good call.
Yeah,
you can't top those miniatures as a bidding.
Oh
token.
Man,
it's pretty.
I haven't played Skyrise yet. I'm jealous.
Oh, it's a good one.
We haven't played it right.
Man, should almost bring it to Q.
I have my copy. I got it at Gen Con this last
nice.
Gen Con. I found it at the consignment. Like someone was getting rid of it, so I opened it up and it was like the deluxe collector's edition.
Dude, that's amazing! Yeah. Congratulations! I love it when you get a find like that. That's so exciting.
I backed it. Bob and I both backed it. I was really excited for that one.
We played it wrong.
It looks beautiful. The table presence on that game is out of control. All right, Andy. We need to know what your number 5 is.
So my number 5, it's an older game, 2016 game. It's sort of fairy tale type of thing, but it's ranked. This is my lowest ranked one, 5,287 last time I checked, and it's this game called Turia.
I have not played Turia.
Not played Turia. It's got these really cool. I'm sure you'll bring up some pictures of it, but it's got these cool little towers that sit on the corners of the board, and what you see. So the board is, you sit around the board in a certain way, and how you see those towers are the 4 actions that you can do. And then when you do that action, the tower rotates, and so that changes everybody else's action selection. And it's really neat. And the really cool thing is you don't have your own meeple that you move around. Everyone's moving the same meeple around.
What?
So where they put that meeple might completely change what actions you have available to you, because now you might have, oh, why did you put that on that side of the board? Now I can't reach that thing unless I pay more crystals and stuff like that. And the theme is hilarious. Basically, you're a bunch of people who are trying to court the prince or princess in the castle. And so you're just collecting crystals and stuff. The storyline is just hilarious. Like the king has made this thing where you have to go out and do these quests in order to win the hand of the prince or princess. And then, yeah, anyway, it's just a cute little game, but it's really cool and a really neat mechanism with the towers and stuff.
That sounds really cool.
Super cool. It's towers like move, because I love moving boards, like things like that change, move, and like dynamic, and that sounds very interesting. I'd check that out.
Yeah, Tour is a really good game.
Love it. Look at that. It's on Geek Market for $15, Bob.
Yeah, it's an old game, but like I'm pretty sure you can find it. It doesn't get a lot of love. I know a friend of mine. She's a huge fan of this game, and she's like the biggest Turia evangelist. Like she just tells everybody about this game. So
I made a note. I'm going to try to play it next week because it also looks like it plays in like an hour. Like it's pretty short.
Yeah. Short. It's a short game.
Nice. Even better.
This looks really cool. Clemens Franz. I was about to say it based off of the box art there. Just kind of the way he shades certain things.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, who's the designer of this one?
It looks like Inca Brand, Marcus Brand, and Michael Renick. Renick.
Yeah. So it's the brands, you can't go wrong.
This looks cool. Wow. Yeah, I do not know this one.
Oh, they did
Jeff.
Raja the Ganji. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a pedigree there. Wow.
Yeah, and they do the Exit series too.
Yes.
Right? So,
yes, they sure do. Nice.
All right.
So yeah,
Good start.
definitely one to check out. It's really good.
Yeah, I would definitely want to check it out.
What's up, Jeff?
What you got, Mike?
Yeah. Also, Sausage Sizzle, the newest, one of the newer ones from 25th Century.
Yeah, I want to play that. I'm going to play that next week.
Okay, so my number 5, when we've done similar lists that were underrated, we stayed away from like newer releases. Like I don't even think we did anything from the previous year, but I didn't want to put that limitation on this. I just wanted to focus on games that I just don't think that many people talk about. And so my number 5 is a 2023 release, but that is because it's ranked 10,862 and it's Shadow Network from Talon Strike.
Oh yeah.
Wow. I had that on my list, but it was 2023 and I marked it off.
Yeah, I was going to, but there's never really that many people that talked about this game. And I think it's really good.
It is really good.
I did only play it the one time, but I think what I remember that impressed me the most about this game, you're basically like gathering evidence and kind of going around the board to gather up this evidence, which you really are using for resource conversions. And you're able to do these really, Bob, you should grab the card. Yes, hold on. Let me get Bob's solo layout. Also, Bob's in the game.
Look at that criminal. Look at that criminal on the back of that card.
Is that really you? Or
Yeah,
really me.
it's an Amish spy.
So Talon Strikes, when they did the Kickstarter for this game, they allowed people to submit like period attire photos and get themselves into the game. So one of our other content creator friends, Jason Smith from the Board Game Mechanics, he's also in this game.
He's in there too, yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool thing to do in a Kickstarter. But this game is really clever. I definitely like the theme, but like how you're seeding the board and you're picking up basically resources, and that's just your turn. All of the resource conversion you do when it's not your turn. So you actually spend the majority of your thought process doing all of these resource conversions while everyone else is planning their guys out and collecting their resources. So by the time it comes back to your turn, you're like, hold on, slow down. I'm not even done doing my resource conversions yet. There's no downtime in this game.
Very little downtime,
whatsoever. I never had a turn where it came back to me and I was like immediately ready for my turn, it felt like.
I gotta try this out. That looks
it's really clever. It's really good.
Yeah, I think the art style is definitely very cool. And it definitely didn't get enough love. And it's a very cool game. And again, the zero downtime thing is just, I think it works better in this game than any other game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So
like you're saying, the way it naturally seeds the board is you take your actions to collect information, and then some of that information leaks to adjacent places. Like, it's very clever.
Yeah, so I think this one being Talon Strike Studios, which is a very small indie publisher, is one reason this one is not very well known. But I just didn't care that this was a newer release. I definitely felt like this game needed more love.
Yeah, never even heard of it. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, then it qualifies for the list.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that takes us to number 4, Mr. Mike.
For my number 4, I really enjoy hidden movement games. And this hidden movement game from 2010 is ranked 1,266. I like to see how Tim looks down to see if it's on his list.
I know, right?
But Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space.
Honorable mention.
Yeah. It's just a ton of fun. And it handles player elimination really well. So you have humans, you have aliens. Humans are trying to make their way to their escape pods. Aliens are trying to hunt them down. Aliens can move faster than humans can. Every time you move into like another space, you have to draw a card. Sometimes it's silent. Sometimes you give a lie. Sometimes you give a truth about your position. And they're trying to track you down. And if you die, you become an alien next round. And then you're trying to hunt down the other humans. And it's just a really enjoyable. It's like 8 or something like that.
Yeah. High player count. I love this game. I was so glad that I infected everybody in my group with this game, and that other people loved it as much as I did. This game's really good.
It's nerve-wracking too, this game. I remember playing this and I was like,
it is. It's super fun. And it's like, it's even kind of nerve-wracking to be the alien because you're trying to be so clever, right? And sneaky with how you're pursuing, because you don't want to be given up. I mean, we've had games where aliens killed aliens by, I thought you were,
alien on alien crime.
Oh, it's so good. I love this game. It's really fun. I'm glad. It sounds like Andy's played it. You like this game too?
I have. Yeah, no, it was fun. I remember. Yeah, I've only played it a couple times, but every time it was very enjoyable. But yeah, just like you're sweating by the end. Like you're sweating because it's so
because look at your map. You're all over the place.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. Yeah.
I played the humans one time and it almost got away, but like it was just one more turn and I would have gotten away. But
I also like, and this is a game that does one of my favorite things, whether it's a board game or like a role playing game, is the after you're done playing and you have like the debrief, you know, where everybody talks about like, oh, and then I was doing this, and then if you would have done that, like you would have had me, you know, like I just love those conversations after the game because it's so exciting and it's so much fun because people were so invested, right? Everybody's all worked up and they want to kind of tell their story and what happened, and it's just one of the reasons why I love gaming so much, right? Is all that interaction and the storytelling and everything. And yeah, Nyx would have gotten away with it too, not for those meddling aliens.
You know, when I see the simplicity of the components in this game, it makes me appreciate this box cover more.
Yeah.
It's a very, very basic box cover, and you actually at first don't even really see that
there's an alien back there.
Thing back there. Yeah.
That's my copy. Album going.
My copy is right there between Escape from 100 BC and Fastlofts.
I was going to put Letters from Whitechapel on here because I really enjoy that game, but it's ranked too high. So, and I have better stories from that than I have from Escape.
Escape, yeah.
But still love Escape. Probably my second favorite hidden movement game.
Letters from Whitechapel, though, we have also put a lot of plays in on that bad boy too. And yeah, that gets emotional.
Similarly, Spectre Ops for our family.
I love Spectre Ops.
Number 3.
Man, that was a very early on in my board game collecting days, and I maybe the first Emerson Matsuuchi game that I played.
Oh, and I still have that one. That one gets played. That one gets played a lot.
Yeah. My Spectre Ops is over there somewhere. Oh man. Okay. So many to choose from. I'm trying not to cross over with Bob because I think Bob and I might have a few. So I'm going to go with, for my number 4, 2,223. Andy, you mentioned that you, enjoy Catan or did enjoy Catan, right? I think a lot of us got into the hobby playing games similar to Catan, especially if you got into the hobby like 2014, you know, it was like 2010, 2011 for me, when I started really like getting in deep. Catan was one of the first board games I owned. Game of Thrones Catan is my number 4. This is a really interesting version of Catan. If you are a Game of Thrones fan, it implements the wall mechanic, and you have the wildlings, north of the wall. There's some stuff you can do up there, and then it's like playing Catan, which most people are familiar with, and it's very easy. I also feel like it's very easy to teach. It's really straightforward, which is why it's a really good gateway game. But then it adds to that, right? It adds a theme in a way that doesn't feel shoehorned. It doesn't feel forced. And this is just a really nice version of Catan. And I know Bob is not a Catan fan, but he played Game of Thrones Catan. It wouldn't be his first one. I know what his first one would be. Also qualifies for this list, Bob.
It's not on mine though.
Okay, it'll be on mine later. But this, I needed to know that. But yeah, the Game of Thrones Catan does a really nice job, and it even comes with some nice like plastic components, like for the wall that you set up. And so, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, and you haven't played Catan, or if you have played Catan and you're like, I didn't like Catan, I would say try this, because I think it will
change it enough.
It will change it enough that it will make it interesting for you. And the components are really good. They did a nice job, and it's really fun. And
cool.
I'm not big on the art. I don't think the art was done very well.
Well,
some of the art's okay, but some of it's like, ugh.
I actually would agree because I don't like the art of the box cover that much. But I do agree with Tim. I like this version quite a bit. It gives you an extra scoring avenue because all these guys guarding the wall are worth a point. But
Yeah.
additionally, it adds a semi-cooperative element, and you're fighting the wildlings on the other side of the wall. If you actually build close to the wall, there is a chance they can break through and destroy some of your cities. So it
Yeah, and
does
there's
add some very thematic mechanics.
like extra pieces that kind of go up around the board, right? So Catan has sort of like that water frame, right? You frame the board with the water, and so in this one you're framing it with the north. And so like, and there's like wildlings that can attack. But you know, I mean, it's also like regular Catan. Here's your build cost cards, you know, like you've got your development,
Right. 3
your player
rocks,
rates.
2 wheat, same.
Yeah. But the the wall aspect.
Oh wow, that wall. That's cool.
You know, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's Fantasy Flight, you know, so I mean, they know what they're doing. And actually, for Fantasy Flight, it has a decent insert.
Tim, the one on the screen is painted. How come you haven't painted yours yet?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Thought we were friends,
I like
Bob.
This version. This was fun. There's all the wildlings on the other side.
Yeah, I
of the
bought
wall.
a thing of paints like a year and a half ago, and it's still wrapped in plastic.
It's the only way to make sure they stay fresh.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, I enjoy this game quite a bit. I think it's a fun version of Catan, and I think it's I just appreciate because it's so easy to slap a skin or a theme on a game and be like, well, that'll sell because everybody likes that, right? And and when it's bad, it kind of sucks. But when it's actually good, it's like hooray, you know, like sweet. Because I can tell you, this is a Game of Thrones game my wife might play with me. The regular Game of Thrones game, there's no way in hell she would ever play that with me. So,
yeah, the added mechanics in this are very thematic.
Yeah, they did a nice job.
All right, I guess.
All right.
I'm next.
Yeah.
This is from so this one's going back a little bit. 2015. It's a 2015 game. It's actually it's a deck builder, but it's one of the first cooperative deck builders. And I'm not talking about the Harry Potter one. It's called Big Book of Madness.
Oh, I played this.
Yeah, I don't know if you've played it, but it's hard, but it's like one of my favorite cooperative deck builders. Like when the Harry Potter one came out, like this was still my favorite. It just really ratchets us up the cooperative nature of it, because you have these cards that you can place on the upper side of your board that anyone can use. But then when you use it, it goes back into your deck, into your discard pile, right? But it just allows you to talk and say, hey, on your turn, what are you going to do? And it says, okay, you know what? I'm going to put this into the communal area so that you can use it. But then like an event happens. Oh no, I don't need that anymore. And
right.
That's okay. He can use it next turn and stuff. Right. So there's a sort of cooperative aspect to it. And you need to cooperate if you want to win this game, because if you don't cooperate, you're going to lose for sure. It's a difficult game to win, but when you do, it's so rewarding. It's such a fun game.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that box cover.
The art is really nice on this too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember now, maybe it's just because of who I was playing with, but I remembered struggling a little bit to learn this game out of the rule book. But once we had it, we were good. But I don't know, that could have also been the group, and it's been a few years.
Well, I learned it from a video. So like,
sure.
Like, yeah. So I don't know. I can't really say what the rule book is like. I do remember reading it just to refresh my memory on a later play. But every single time it's been fun.
No, that's good. That's good. And also great art, right? Great table presence.
Yeah,
Yellow games.
Right?
How do you pronounce that?
Yellow. It's pronounced yellow, Bob.
Looks like Elio to me.
That's Portuguese version.
It's Portuguese, that's right.
I've seen this one before, but I've not played it. The box definitely is enough to make you wonder.
Mike's got the translator going on his screen.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm deep into the picture selection
Deep
here.
cuts.
You start getting into the translations for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a great game. I highly recommend it. Highly
Liberate
recommend it. It doesn't
Con.
get enough love.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Mike.
Okay, so my number 4 is probably the most popular game on this list. And a lot of times when we do these, I will order mine in order of like which ones are my favorite. So like my number 1. But this is easily my favorite game on this list. I know the other guys love this game. I know there's a chance it could be on their lists even. But this 2022 game that will soon be getting a reprint will start getting the love that it possibly deserves. And that's because it's Resurgence by our friend Stan Kordonsky. This game is fantastic. We reviewed this one and I legitimately did give it a 9, like what you see on the screen here. What originally pulled me in, not just that it was designed by Stan Kordonsky, who I think just with his name being on the box now, the game gets the love it deserves. So maybe this wasn't ideal for this list, but I still feel like there's a lot of people that haven't played this one. But what really drew me in, this is bag building with worker placement. And so what you're building in your bag is workers that allow you to go to different spots on the board that have more powerful actions. You're starting with a very basic set of workers that are limited in where they can go, but you build up better workers that can do more things. But you actually start with a planning phase where you're planning out where your workers are going to go on the board based on the color that you see here. And that also becomes like a bid where you're moving up a track and you're getting benefits based on who has the most workers going to the certain colored locations. That was what drew me in at first. But what makes this game amazing is the ability cards that you're picking up as you go. Because this game just creates these incredible synergies where, okay, if I go to this location, I can tap this card and it'll give me a bullet. But then by getting a bullet, I can tap this card that allows me to get a food. But then this card I can tap because every time I get a food, I can get a bullet. And you get these ridiculous combinations where you're tapping multiple cards every turn. And it becomes extremely satisfying when you pull those synergies off very well.
Really big
this
turns.
game,
I really like
this. Yeah, that all of us love this one. I thought it was probably too popular to mention, but I don't care. This game's that good.
Honestly, Mike, I scrolled past it because I didn't recognize that box art. Is that the reprint box art?
Yeah, that's the reprint one. The red one is the OG version, and then that newer, like blue or gray or whatever, that one is the new one.
I like the old box art way better.
Me too. And I wonder if that's going to be a square box now instead of a rectangle.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. So yeah, Portal's going to allow this to get better distribution, not just in the US, but overseas for sure.
I wonder if they're changing any rules.
I hope not.
I'm not sure on that.
Because I know sometimes when like they do a second edition for some games on Kickstarter, especially, they'll do like a upgrade pack for like a couple of bucks. You can like get the new rule book and maybe like errata cards or anything that's changed. I wonder if they're going to have any of that.
Yeah, so this was actually Stan's first self-published game under Half a Kingdom Games, and I think that's why it probably didn't get as big of a marketing budget as it may have gotten had another publisher picked it up, and so that's why I still feel like this game is underloved. And Portal picking this up, I think you're going to see a resurgence of the popularity in this game.
Hey, those new colored pieces are better.
Yeah, there was.
I can tell those apart a lot easier.
There were a few kind of weird components with this, which again may come from it being his first self-published game. But yeah, Stan makes tons of great games now, and all of his games seem to get the love they deserve now. I feel like this is still his most underloved game. It's just that good.
Nice.
Good pick.
I haven't played it. Sounds interesting. I would love to play that. I love bag builders. Like Orleans is like one of my favorite. games of
Oh
all
yeah, I
time,
love
and,
Orleans, and this is like Orleans.
Yeah, but I love the hidden planning phase because like everything's behind there.
Yeah.
You put your workers in those different sections, and
That's
then you
neat.
reveal, and then you gain power for the area.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
I gotta try that.
Yeah,
one.
it doesn't give you like as many workers as some other, or as many like pieces in your bag as other bag building games where you get like a really big set and you can
Yeah.
really rifle your hands through them. So it doesn't have that kind of tactile
Mhm.
feel that some bag builders do, but it pulls the mechanic off very well.
Mhm. That's cool. Yeah, I'll definitely try that.
Okay, let's
Alright.
get to our number 3, and I'm gonna let a dog out or back in.
Ooh.
Excuse me.
crap.
You gotta
too?
love it. You gotta love it when it's like, oh, I gotta let my dog out or back in, and then 2 of the hosts are like, oh
I'll
no.
let Winston out at like number 5. He'll be all right. I'll go when Tim's talking.
Yeah, you don't need to
I'll
hear
wait
about
for
mine
your pick
anyways.
so I can pull it up.
Sure. Oh, so number 3, friend of the show, released in 2021, ranked 1,540.
In 40.
After the Empire is a fantastic worker placement, tower defense type game. It's got awesome table presence. So many people have walked by and were like, what? I want to play that.
Oh, I
It's
want to try
so
this.
cool.
It's
Yeah.
really good, Andy. It's really good.
Yeah, I wanted to try this so bad.
He's usually in the chat.
He is usually in the chat, but
Yeah,
that's fine.
what
And
is up
I'm
with
not
that?
even pulling a Tim and trying to pander. I legitimately
Hush your mouth.
we liked this
He
game
always
before
talks
we
about
knew
this game.
Evan, and it has one of the greatest and the smartest catch-up mechanics like built in, and it makes so much sense. As you start to get ahead and have more money in your castle, more people are going to be coming at you as you flip the cards over for the invaders. Depending on how much money you have, different levels of invaders are coming at you. So it makes it more and more difficult to keep all that money in your castle because more people are coming to steal it. And if you get raided and your walls fall down and you get sacked, then you drop down a certain amount of money because they take some of it as they go. And it just makes so much sense. And it's just done really well. Like I love the worker placement in it. I love the little pieces. They can be a little fiddly as you're trying to put them on top, but those castles are fantastic. And you're upgrading them from wood to stone. And then as they get hit and damaged, you go out and you pick up the pieces and you can spend actions to rebuild them and put them back up again. And you got to feed people with the farms. It's great.
Designed by Evan Halbert and Ryan Mock. This is what, Gray Fox Games?
Yep, Gray Fox Games.
Yeah, this game looks amazing. I remember first seeing this and I was like, I've got to try this. It's one of those games that was sort of priced out of my range.
sure.
Like it's one of those things. So this is one of those games I wish I want it to be less loved so I can pick it up on a second market. For
The people that have it love it, but there's just not.
Andy, so same, and I got a Kickstarter copy, I don't know, for like 20 or 30 bucks at a flea market for a small convention in Indianapolis that I went to a few months ago. And I was so excited. I was like, what? Like basically they posted it. It was dirt cheap. And I'm like, well, there's no way this is the Kickstarter edition, but I'm going to ask anyways. And when they were like, yeah, I think it is, I was like, I'm in. I want it. I would have bought it anyways, but like definitely was in and wasn't going to like try to negotiate the price down like or anything. Like, nope, give it to me.
Wow, that's such a good price for that game. I don't know how much it is, but I just it's worth. I'm not saying it's not worth it because I see where your money is going for this game, but it looks really cool. I'd love to try this.
What was it? Not this past Origins, but the Origins before that. Evan brought his prototype expansion for it with like knights and whatnot, and we got to play that. That was fun. So,
that was very cool.
Very cool.
I still need to play this.
You haven't played it, Mike?
No.
Slacker.
You guys talk about it all the time. I know. We got to play your copy. Good pick.
Yep.
All right, I'll go into my number 3 so Bob can let Winston in, and he knows about this game. My number 3 is rated 1,712 because when I got into the board game hobby, I came from role-playing games and playing like Warhammer and Magic. So I loved tabletop miniatures, skirmishes and battles, but then I also really appreciated the stories behind it, right? So like in Warhammer, you got points and you make an army, right? Build out of points and everything. But my friends and I would always come up with like backstories for like the generals, and like have lore built in for that, because you don't have to do that, but it made it interesting and fun for us. So when there's a good tabletop sort of skirmish miniatures game where there's already really good lore and backstory that's really interesting, like I'm in. And that's why my number 3 is GKR Heavy Hitters. I love this game. It's wild. The flavor text on all the cards is bananas.
Hilarious.
This is Weta Workshop. They only did a couple of games. I don't think they make board games anymore.
Weta. I didn't know that.
But this game's so much fun. It's bonkers. The battles are wild and they're swingy. You know what I mean? And I just really appreciate everything. Yeah, me too, Andrew. I bought everything for it because I love it. This, again, this is not a game for everybody, but for somebody that is a terrible painter of miniatures and also incredibly lazy, everything comes pre-painted and it looks really good.
It does.
And I love the art, the vibe, the theme, the style. Like, it's so funny, and this game is just so much fun. I've never had a bad time playing this game. I will play it anytime anybody wants to.
There we go.
Yeah, it's pretty dang good. And it's a ginormous box. I don't even, where's my GKR? It's somewhere like up high on a shelf because I don't have
it's a big one
for all this stuff. Oh,
but yeah, you have your main mech and then you have like a repair droid.
Your support units.
Yeah.
How big of a table do you need for this game? Because I keep seeing it, but I'm just like, where?
It's not that bad.
It's not. Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, okay.
Because you're kind of confined in the city.
Yeah.
With buildings, yeah.
Yeah, they keep the board. The mechs are really big, but the board is a reasonable size.
Yeah.
But it also keeps combat like tight. You know what I mean? Because like even if somebody's like out of range, they're not out of range for long. So you can really, that way you don't get like just bogged down and just gonna waste this turn moving and trying to line up a shot, and then the other person's like, well, I'm gonna run. It just doesn't work. That it's not a good strategy, so
yeah, definitely want to try this. I keep seeing this and I'm just like, okay, I love mechs, and so something I'd like to try.
Yeah, me too.
Cool.
Love mechs. This game's bananas. It's super fun.
Piece of a box.
It actually took me a while before I realized all the other games this designer has worked on. I had no idea. And it's Matt Hyra. He's DC Deck Builder, the Versus system, the Attack on Titan.
Oh, wow.
Very
Attack on Titan. If you like cooperative deck builders, that Attack on Titan is really good.
I've heard good things about it.
You have to cooperate or you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
And I did not put any of the DC deck builders on my games that need more love because you guys hear me talk about it all the time. But it is the same designer, so he's doing something right for me. He's hitting that sweet spot.
Like, I didn't realize he also did Transformers and Epic Spell Wars of the Battle Wizards. Like, I had no idea he was the GKR designer.
Yeah, Epic Spell Wars is also awesome and could be on my list because it's so wrong. It's so fun.
Cool. All right, my number 3. So my number 3 is this is where I sort of bent my own rule because it's only 819. But the reason why it's on my list because it's a bit controversial. Because I think there's going to be a lot of people who will definitely disagree with me. And if I tell you the designer, you might know what it is. It's Tom Lehman, and it is New Frontiers. And the reason we put it on here is because Roll for the Galaxy and Race for the Galaxy are usually rated higher than this. But for me, that is my favorite out of the 3.
Very good.
And I love New Frontiers. I actually got rid of my Roll for the Galaxy and Race for the Galaxy because this is the one I like to
Wow.
play.
Nice.
I love this one so much. Just like it just everything. It honestly, it's actually the easiest one to teach, in my opinion. Like
Yeah,
I have
I
an
think
easy
you're right.
time teaching it. The Explorer stuff, like just everything flows. It's just so streamlined. Andrew's saying race will always be better. That's I humbly disagree, but
no,
for
that's
me,
that's why we have the conversation, right?
but for me, New Frontiers is the best one, and just the table presence, the ridiculous resource cubes that come with this game are insane. Like, it's just I don't know, just everything about this game is a winner for me.
I would agree with you that I believe this is the easiest one to teach, and I think it's the iconography is a bit more simplified in this one.
Yes.
I only got to play this one once, and it was our friend and co-host Spencer's copy. I've really been wanting to play this one again. I enjoyed this a lot.
Like, look at these things. These are the resource cubes
gosh.
that it comes with.
They look
It's
awesome.
crazy.
Yeah.
They're really neat. They're just
They
the
are.
components alone.
I forgot all about those.
Yeah.
Yeah, those resource cubes are amazing.
And then the expansion just came out this year, and it just made it like it went from like for me like 9 to a 9.8. It was just
Awesome.
I haven't tried that one, and I think roll is better than race. Sorry, Andrew.
I would I think that your reason for putting this on the list is very well justified because the other two games massively overshadowed.
100% was going to say the same thing, Mike. Absolutely. Good point. Agree.
Yeah.
And also it's your
before
list.
this, and before this, actually, roll was my favorite. I actually preferred roll over race, but I know like some of us who are in the New Frontiers category are in the minority. I think Rido is actually sides with me on this one as well. Like I think he says New Frontiers is his favorite. I can't. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. But
too late. We just published that.
That's right.
Andy Kim says Rido says that.
I think I saw that on his review of New Frontiers, but I don't remember. My memory's starting to fade. So. It's fantastic. I love this.
Nice.
I love that game.
I need to play this. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
And
this one is.
This comment is directed at Bob, not you, Andy. So you're good.
I was expecting someone to say heresy.
No,
I love a controversial pick. I'll take it.
I like the reasoning for that pick too. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my number 3, this was published by Prospero Hall. So you might think, well, that was kind of a big publishing company. How could they have an underrated game? And I think it's because this one was not an IP game. And also, Sean Fletcher is credited as one of the designers, and this
I like Sean.
Hero.
Okay, yeah.
Hero is a 2-player only, chaotic, hectic resource management game, and it's got kind of this sort of wasteland theme, but it's real time on your turn dice rolling. So I love this because this has got to be maybe one of my favorite components. There it is.
The trucks, right?
Each truck is a sand timer. So on your turn, you're going to flip that truck onto its back, and you're going to continue rolling dice as much as you want. And you got to stop it and put the truck back on its bottom to save yourself the time, because you don't get to reset the time each turn. You actually have to save the sand, and each turn you actually have to use a resource to reset the sand timer. And so you're trying to collect sets on these dice, which allow you to grab these cards up here that all have these special abilities. Yes, I remember last time we mentioned this one, the Rossies were all over this one. Wes Todd taught me this game. I got my butt kicked and I had a blast. Like losing in this game is so much fun because you're sitting there watching that sand timer and you know you've only got so much time and you actually are trying to short yourself on time because you have to save time for later turns. Maybe you roll something half decent. Is it worth pushing your luck for an extra like 10, 15 more seconds to figure out if you can do better? When 15 seconds may be more valuable, the improvement you get from continually rolling more dice. It's such a clever mechanic, and it is chaotic only because of that timer. You're watching that sand timer constantly. But you're basically just trying to build up resources, special abilities, and it's first to a set number of points basically instantly wins.
You should.
I've never had so much fun getting my butt kicked in a game.
We should buy this so we can play it on our trip.
That West taught me this game, and so you can imagine me and West playing this chaotic dice roller at that table right over there. It was so fun.
I'm gonna have to ask Fletch about this game.
I have this game. I thought about bringing it to QSCon, but it's like it's a 2-player only. It would be like maybe me and Bob play it one night in the hotel, but it's so fun, and I still think it's rated by the way 2306. It was a 2018 release, and again I think it being a Prospero game that's not tied to an IP, I don't think it gets as much love as the others.
Look at that. Sounds like we got to play the Rossies at QSCon. Go to the source.
I bought this like a week after Wes showed me because you can get this super cheap online.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah,
I had to get it. It is so fun. So fun.
Yeah, I remember seeing those trucks. I remember seeing the trucks and I was like, that's clever. Like just use of the theme and
yeah, absolutely. Such a blast. Highly recommend this at least once. It only takes like 30 minutes to play.
Yeah.
And odds are you'll want to play it immediately again. It's one of those games
I love that. Yeah. I love that.
You want to just immediately re-rack and go again. So there you go.
All right. Let's get to the number 2s.
Up to
number 2, probably my most, I wouldn't say controversial, but I did put one 2023 release. That's what this one is. But it's ranked 11,984, and that's criminal because Ahoy Kitten is one of the most dumb, fun games
it's a blast
I've ever played. It's one of the few games I've scored 0 points in where high score wins, and I still had a good time.
Enjoying getting your butt kicked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically musical chairs, fish.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, he missed it. There's Evan.
7.
Evan, you missed us talking about your co-design after the Empire.
It was Bob's 3.
And you can be mad at him. Why wasn't it Bob's number 1 game that needed more love? We'll throw him under the bus. But thanks. please talk about Ahoy Kitten and its magnificence.
Yeah. Yes. So I don't know who the designer was. Who was that? Oh, thanks. Yoshiteru Shinohara.
Yes, Bob, say that.
Nailed it.
Say that name.
Put out by Mayday Games. Like I have shown this to so many people, and everybody loves it. Like we played it at I don't know if it was Christmas or Thanksgiving, and my mom swearing at my niece because my niece kept stealing her fish is one of like the funniest moments. Like burnt into my brain. It was so funny. But yeah, you're just 1, 2, 3. You're pointing at a tile that has fish on it, putting those fish on your little boat tile, and then they're gonna 1, 2, 3, and you're gonna point at something else, or you can cover the fish on your tile and like bank them, but you're out for a round, and just that's all you're doing. That's the whole thing, and it plays in like 15 minutes maybe.
Yeah,
and it's just such a fun, ridiculous, easy time. Last year there was a convention down in Warsaw that we went to, and there was this group of people, and they're playing Tapestry, I think it was. And we had talked to them a little bit earlier in the day, and they had played Heat with us and whatnot. But I see them over there, and they're kind of racking their brain a little bit, and they finally get done with Tapestry, and I'm like, hey, you guys want to play something super light and easy? They're like, sure. And I pulled this game out, and they were laughing so hard they were on their phone ordering it by the time we were done. Like
Yeah.
it was.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
This game is so much fun. It's very light, right? It's very simple. It's very straightforward. But
1,
this
2,
is
3. That's it.
But this is like, this provides such an experience that I love having. You know, where you're sitting around a table. I play this, like Bob and I play Lacerda games together, right? And we play 7-hour war games together, and we will play this game and get just as emotionally involved and worked up. It's so much fun. Genuinely love this game. Bob, I was gonna mention it if nobody else did.
Same.
Yep.
Same.
Yeah. So like those little tiles will have like start with 2, and then people, the ones that don't get taken, like more fish get added to them. But if you've got 5 players, there's only 4 tiles. So the odds are somebody's going to be pointing to the same tile. And if 2 or more people are pointing at the tile, nobody gets it. And so it's just, it's fun. It's a great.
It's stupid
you can pick it up for like $20, and you will get so much, bang for that buck. It's so worth it.
Holy kidding. Okay. I gotta check it out. I've never even heard of it.
I mean, it's hyperbolic to say it's incredible, but also this game's incredible just because it's just because of like the amount of plays that we've gotten out of this game and the sheer amount of enjoyment that we've gotten from this game.
Out of curiosity,
it's awesome.
I'm looking too, because I haven't even played my own copy yet.
Oh boy,
and
I've not recorded all my plays.
I have 29 plays. In here. That's crazy for me. I only been keeping score for a year. Not even.
I have 22 plays of this, having not even owned it until a few months ago, and all of those are just within the last year. My first play of this was September of last year.
You're welcome, boys.
That's crazy.
You're welcome.
Fun. It's so fun.
I am so glad, because this is I'm on like a social media group, like on Facebook, where like people are looking for reviewers and stuff. And I was like, this looks super cute. Like, I would love to try this. If anything, I will play this. And if the guys hate it, I will do a review of with my kids. Like I'll just do a video with my kids, because it looks like something that we would all have fun playing. And the guys were so bananas for it also. Like, we all loved it so much that it's like, well, sorry kids, this isn't going to be a kids video, because we all are having so much fun playing it, talking about it. So yeah, that's me, Tim. Hyperbole, Aberly. It's alliteration.
Quick story, that same convention in Warsaw you were talking about, where you were playing Ahoy Kitten and it was your copy, was because you bought it at that convention, and I was mad you beat me to it.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, it's also my fault. Because I
kind of called dibs before you had a chance at it.
Because I was like walking around to see what other people were like selling at this very small convention, and all the vendors were very cool and were like chatting with them and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, you guys got Ahoy Kitten?" And I was like, "Hold on a second," and I literally ran across this gymnasium, and I'm like, "Bob, they're selling Ahoy Kitten over there." And you're like, "How much is it?" And I'm like, "It's like $20." And you handed me a 20. You're like, "Will you buy it? I'm teaching a game right now," because you were doing something.
Yeah,
you were literally handing me the money, and I ran back across, bought it, and then Mike's like, "Hey, who's selling Ahoy Kitten?" I was like, "Oh, it's the last one."
Oh no.
I know, and then I was the jerk. I went from hero to zero like so fast.
Still a hero in my book.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, and David, there's so many things. There's so many things you can blame me for.
The last Meeple meetup we had, I had that copy that they gave us to do a giveaway with. And so I taught a bunch of new people how to play. And I said, okay, the winner's going to get the copy of the game. And so, somebody else won it. And one of the other people at the table, they were so bummed they didn't win it. They ordered themselves a copy, so it would be at their house for their vacation the next weekend. So
nice. Yeah.
Yes. It is now readily available either on Mayday's website or on Amazon, just FYI.
And totally worth it.
Totally worth it.
If you're a person that puts value in like cost per play, right? Like, so if you buy a game for $20 and its cost actually becomes cheaper, right? The more you play it, because you've gotten the value out of it. this would be a game that is literally like under pennies, you know, with this as many times as we've played it.
Yeah.
I'll just check it out.
Oh yeah, thanks, Evan. Yeah, hey, you love this game. You should get it
that was-
sometime. I just bought the last.
Yeah. Within a few
It'll
more
get
years of
reported
playing
eventually.
this, Seth Hyatt's gonna have to pay us for this. So
Yeah,
just
no
kidding.
kidding. He can. I'd be fine with that.
Well, you know.
Okay, so I'll go to my number 2. You want to talk about games with like low price point that we played a gazillion times, and this is the game that almost always gets paired with Ahoy Kitten. I was shocked to see it rated at 1,042. This is Eric Lang's favorite game, and it is Cockroach Poker.
Oh
my
wow,
gosh.
It's rated that low.
It's rated that low. I was offended because I love this game so much. I just, honestly, I discovered it within the last 2 years, right? Year and a half. Because I had this really awesome opportunity to get to interview Eric Lang for the show. And I was just kind of chit-chatting with him, like, oh, what's your favorite game? And he, you know, because this guy has designed Blood Rage and Ankh and Rising Sun and all these games that I love. And he's like, Cockroach Poker is like my favorite game. And I was like, okay, I've heard of it before. I've heard about it, but now I've really got to get my hands on a copy. And we play this game. I play this game with my kids. I play this game with non-gamers. I, again, like Ahoy Kitten, I play this game with Bob and Mike. I mean, we're cussing at each other. You know, the tensions are high. I love it. And also the stories, right? When you're done playing and you're like, oh, I was so close. I almost took this. I almost, you know, oh, I was going to do
like
that.
Bullshit with art instead of art.
This game's so good. It's so much fun.
It's actually featured on an anime. I don't know if you've seen this anime. It was, what's it called? It's this anime about board games. I don't know if you've seen this thing, but it's actually they actually teach this game in that anime and they play it. It's
nice.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out because my daughter is getting into anime. So like if I can get her to watch an anime about board games, then we're both like locked in, right?
Yeah.
But Cockroach Poker is
shots fired.
I play this game with
non-gamers, Bob and Mike. Yeah, play this game with everybody. Oh, look at that! Evan said he played it with a publisher that he signed a game of his.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's what you need to do, Andy. Is you're like, hey, I've got this game writer's block, but first let's play Cockroach Poker, and then let's play writer's block. And you're gonna have such a good time doing both. You're gonna be like, I really want to be involved with this person. I want to do business with them. But Cockroach Poker, super fun, very simple, right? I hand you a card and I say, this is a cockroach. And you say, yes, it is. No, it isn't. Or maybe, and I don't want it. You're going to pass it along. And you can tell the same lie, a new lie, or the truth. And then, you just don't want to get a set of 4 matching suits in front of you. It's very simple and brilliant and super fun. So, Andy, have you played Cockroach Poker then?
I haven't. I know how it's played because of that.
Because of the show, right?
The show is called After School Dice Club.
Okay, After School. I'm writing that down right now.
It's one of those slice of life animes. It's just a bunch of girls who go to this high school and they're very not. They don't know how to have fun or something. I don't remember the theme, but basically they start this club of board game, and it's funny when they zoom in on the background and this thing, like the thing is to pause and to see how many of those games you can name.
Like, I know that game. I know that game.
I do that with South Park.
You can do that with South Park now. Yeah, South Park does that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Trey Parker, Matt Stone are gamers.
That's right. Yeah, they're huge gamers. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to play it. I think my daughter was talking about it because she was like, "Oh, we should try that one." But
totally
you should try it. It's super fun. It's really fun.
Another one of those cost per game gets low fast.
This is a game also with West where it's like, oh, hey, I know you said you wanted to leave like an hour ago, but you can't leave before we play Cockroach Poker. And you're like, you're right, Wes. We can't leave before I play Cockroach Poker. And then we play twice. Like, we don't just play one game, we play twice.
This one was actually out of print for a little bit until they reprinted it just last year.
Definitely recommend sleeving it if you get it.
Yeah, yeah, I sleeved mine because again, it gets played a lot. The cards get
You hold the
handled a
card in your
lot.
hand.
You know, you're sweating because they're like, "Am I telling the truth? Am I lying? Are they gonna get me now?"
Just the party game kind
Nice.
of nature of it. You might be at a table. It's not as clean as it should be.
Also true.
Yep.
Morning, Steph, one of our regulars.
Ah,
From on the other side of the planet.
oh, okay. All right.
From the future.
Yeah, right.
In the future. Okay, so my number two. My number two is actually the first game I thought of for this list because, and it's the game that made me think about this topic in the first place because it's one of those
Nice.
games where I love this game, but no one seems to either know about it or just forgot about it or just I don't know. There's not enough love for Chimera Station. I don't know. If
This game is on my wish list. I've never
Yeah.
played this game. I've only ever heard good things. So
Yeah.
please sell me more.
Unfortunately, it's by TMG, so it's a little
R.I.P.
harder to. Yeah, it's a little hard to find, but it's basically it's a worker placement game, and I know you guys mentioned a couple of them where you change the there's a strength of workers and stuff, but the workers are these aliens, and they're kind of like these Lego pieces, and then in order to improve them, you stack the Lego like these little pieces on to indicate the ones with claws they can shove workers off of places, and then the ones with the leaves you don't have to feed anymore because they're kind of feeding themselves leaves and stuff.
Delicious.
Yeah. Pretty much. And then there's like the ones with the brains, so they have extra so they score you extra points when you land on stuff. And then there's this one with tentacles which doubles the amount of resources you grab depending on which thing. And then you combine them. So now the one that's on the picture here has the claws and the leaves, so this guy doesn't have to be fed and he shoves people off of tiles and stuff. While you're doing that, you're actually building the space station, and so you're building the worker placement spots.
Yeah.
So it's just incredible. I don't know why people don't love this game as much as I do. Like I always have a blast with this game. It's so much fun. And the more we play it, the faster we get at playing it because okay, I'm going here, okay, blah blah blah. But and then the worker placement spots, they keep recycling. And then as you gain tiles to place into the space station, you don't refill the slot. But you go to the spot to refill it, and you want to wait as long as possible because you get all these bonuses for refilling that spot the longer you wait. And so there's just so much about this game I love, and I don't know why people don't love this game because it's so fun, and it's like one of my favorite worker placement games. Just
I've heard very good things about Chimera Station. It's been on my radar. What's up, Reed?
Hello, Toronto native.
Yeah, there we go. Another Toronto.
Hello,
Torontorian.
Torontorian.
Yeah, this one I only played this once a long time ago. I had to look it up. It was 2018, and it was someone else's copy.
That worker looks super powerful.
Yeah,
this
I don't think that's illegal.
It's not. But yeah, this game was very clever, and as you said, not just the customizable workers you can make, but building out all of these extra worker placement spots. This board gets filled up by the time it's over, and there's so many different ways to score points. This was really good, and I just wish I had gotten a chance to play it again.
And it's so funny too. It's just the artwork, and it's just I don't know. There's not enough things I can say about it. It's such a good game.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that's
sci-fi
cool.
themed, cool looking aliens.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Great components.
And the little burger, they're eating burgers. They're aliens eating burgers.
Yeah,
I love
the vibe and it looks super fun.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, good pick. This one definitely never got enough love. I was curious who designed this.
Mark Major.
Did he do anything else that?
Jupiter Rescue.
Don't really know that one. So this is probably his most. Yeah, this is his highest ranked design. Interesting. Yeah, good one. All right, we're going to stay in outer space for mine. I've definitely talked about this game a lot because I think it is extremely good and definitely still has not gotten the love that it deserves. It is another 2023 release, but since it's ranked 5,563 and was published by a very small indie publisher, I want to give more love to Lunar Rush.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
Good
love
game.
Lunar Rush. This game really got me paying attention to Dead Alive games. It just does several things that I really love in games. So I like market games. I like market manipulation games. I like games where like something starts off being worth one thing, but you can make it worth something else by the time the game's over. And then on it adds this amazing timing element. So you're actually starting by bidding for turn order, and then you're going to load up your ships with resources, and they are going to go up to the moon, and then they're going to come back down to Earth. And once they do that, you can sell them for basically points. And the timing of that, sometimes you can't put a whole lot on your ships because they're going to come back really fast. And then other times you're going to play the slow game and you're going to bring those things back like in round 5. But when you time everything correctly and you're able to just load up one ship and just dump everything in to the market for max value, it feels really good. I love this game. It has very little downtime. It plays quick. It's only about 75 minutes. I don't even think it got to an hour and a half with Teach. Lunar Rush is a really good game that is definitely too low of a rating.
Love that timing of like loading up a ship that's going to take 3 turns to get there on one turn. Next turn, load up a ship that's going to take 2 turns to get there. And then like finally when they get there and you have all these resources to work with and you can load stuff up and bring it all back to sell. It's very clever. I remember we played at Origins with the designer, and he was opening up a deluxe copy, and he hadn't seen the deluxe version of it yet, and he was so excited to see.
That wasn't the designer; that was the publisher. You didn't
play. The publisher?
Yeah, you didn't play with Skippy, right? Did you play it with
Bernie?
Bernie.
I don't remember the names. If I saw his face,
Bernie or Brandon, yeah. I don't think Skippy was there.
Okay. Still, though, it was the first time that they had seen the deluxe version, and they open it up, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And they're super excited about the dual-layered ships, and the fancy-looking bits and the shiny cards, and yeah, it's very clever.
I remember seeing this game and I completely forgot what the game was called. And I like tell people, I was like, "Oh, this one where you load these ships and you get it to the moon." I'm like, I don't remember the name of the game now. So thank you for mentioning this one because it's one of those games that I want to try it, but I just completely forgot what it was.
Really good. Yeah. It packs a lot of play for the time that you spend playing it. I mean, I could see a 2 or 3 player game easily going in under an hour. It does say 45 minutes. You get so much bang for your play time with this game. It's very, very good.
Cool. Yeah. Bona fide hit. They had a bona fide hit on their hands with that one.
Yeah. Okay, here we are. We're at our games that need the most love. Number 1.
Number 1 from 2021, ranked 5,638. You wouldn't think a David Turksey game would be rated so low, but I feel like it gets overshadowed by so much more of his other stuff. But I love Venice.
Yep.
I think Venice is super cool. I love the little boats. I love like the engine building you can do by like loading up stuff with a ship and gaining money and going around your docks and activating them all as you're going past them and then doing your deliveries. I really enjoy it. And then there was a bunch of kind of complaints that the first board was very tight. There's not enough room for the boats. There's not enough room for the workers. You see like the workers are kind of like on the buildings until unfortunately you got to keep moving them around. So when they did their Da Vinci expansion, they released a new board, and it fixed everything. There's a parking spot for each boat at each location. There are spots outside the buildings for the workers to stay on. Like every complaint that I had with that game got addressed, and it's fantastic. And it even has one of those things that Dan loves, where if you're like the highest on intrigue, you cannot win, right? If you got no character, you can't win no matter what your score is. But those little pieces are fantastic.
Yeah, these like bridges that you put out, you build them, and if somebody else passes through them, you build suspicion, and too much suspicion, and you cannot win. It's an interesting mechanic.
Right.
I keep seeing the box, but I didn't know what it was. So it's interesting.
Yep.
That
so
looks,
there's a few.
looks cool.
Yeah, there's a few of the games in that like series. There's like Ragusa, Venice, and the French one
is
Brain
Crack.
But
games?
The Venice one is my favorite one. Brain Crack. Yep.
Are they trying to think? What is the
Florence
newest stuff?
Maybe? Yep, Florence.
Hmm.
I got Farsight too. It's pretty good.
I was wondering. I haven't heard anything from Brain Crack in a while. Their last thing on here is 2023. I don't know if they're still publishing. And then, so that may, I don't know, be a microcosm of why there was a game that needed a board improvement. I don't know. I was just kind of looking behind the scenes on that. It is a great game, though. It's very, very unique.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so let's check that out. There's so many games I need to check out now.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Like,
wait till we get to honorable mentions.
I know.
Yeah.
I narrowed that down to just one honorable mention, so I'm going to keep it.
Yeah, I'll keep it.
No, I have like a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Okay, so I was really torn for like what my number one should be. Like, is it the game I played the most? Is it the game I love the most? I don't know, man. So I'm going to go with one of my favorite Martin Wallace games. This is ranked at 1066. This doesn't play like any other Martin Wallace game. What were you doing, Bob? Was this your number 6?
No.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Anyways, again, I like tactical skirmish games, especially if you can find like a really cool and unique way to do it. And so Martin Wallace's Wildlands is a very cool, very interesting take on this style of game, because you have basically you are running like a faction of heroes, 4 to 5 heroes, depending on your faction. And you've got action cards, and the action cards have symbols on them. So different symbols are going to allow you to do sort of different things, whether they're ranged attacks, melee attacks. It might be moves. It could be like a special ability, and things like that. But you're not really the goal. I mean, you can fight, but really the goal is on this board. It's all the spaces have numbers on them, and the board is seeded with these gems that you're trying to run and capture, but you have to like discard a bunch of cards to be able to pick up a gem. So it's very expensive to do that. But if you only need like 5 to win, right? And so if you drop somebody else's hero, well, that counts as a point, so that helps, but it's hard to do that too. And so like engaging in that, like you really have to be judicious with your decisions. And then the other thing, the super fun thing is that the game begins with a draft, and it's of these numbered cards, right? That represent the spaces on the board. And so what you're doing is you're going to pick cards that are going to be where you are placing where your heroes are going to spawn, right? But then the cards you're passing are where wait, is it your heroes? Yeah, your heroes are going to spawn, but then the cards you're passing are where the gems are going to spawn. So like you there's sort of this balance where it's like, oh, well, like you're not always sure where stuff is going to be and pop up. And the other thing is when you start your turn, you can move a character that is visible on the board, or you can reveal a character and use that character. So early on in the game, people are kind of hidden on the board and you don't know where they are. And so there's sort of that timing of also like, haha, like here I am, like, let's go. And so really interesting things you can do with this game.
Yeah, I really love that seed mechanic because if like I have a 31 and a 30, I can keep that 31 to spawn my character. I'm going to pass you that 30 knowing that because the gems are color specific. And so I know you're going to be placing your color gem right there. And I just kind of wait for you to get close, spawn my guy, and then attack you. It's a good time.
Yeah. And Andrew, yeah, I understand. It can be a little fiddly with line of sight and stuff. I haven't really played as many times as I played this. I don't think we've ever messed with the height. I think we've only ever
I don't think
done some of those boards, but I have both versions. I have the regular Wildlands version, and I also have the Judge Dredd version because I'm a comic book nerd. But they're interactive, right? I mean, or they're interchangeable. And
the factions are super asymmetrical. They're you have like a almost steampunky gear right type of one. You've got a fantasy type of one.
Straight up Dungeons and Dragons. There's an undead faction. There's lots of cool things in here. And again, I just was so impressed with how different this game is from because you see Martin Wallace, you're like, where are the trains? There
are 0 trains in this game. What's going on?
Right.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't realize the Judge Dredd game was Wildlands. Kind
of like a reskin.
Reskin,
yeah. It's more of it. It's more of it.
Standalone expansion, right, Tim? You love those.
That's it. 100% standalone expansion. But so Wildlands probably had to be my number one. There's definitely other ones that I could have put up here, but I genuinely love this game. I think it needs more love. Especially for people that like those kind of games. It's definitely not for everybody.
No.
But it is for me. I love that game. Cool. That game. All right, Andy.
All right. Well, my number one is actually the newest game on the list. It's a 2022 release. It was it was either my number 1 or 2 of the year. And it just, I don't know. I don't see it being played a lot. And like I show people and they think it's neat and stuff, but I love me some Tribes of the Wind. I don't know if you guys have played this yet.
Heard of it, but have not played it. Yeah.
It's so good. Like, it's got this mechanism where you have these cards and it comes with card holders. And each person has their own card holders. And what happens is the cards have the backs show you what element that card is. So it could be earth, wind, fire, or water, right? So you see it from the back. And on the front, it'll tell you when you can activate that card. So certain cards will say something like, oh, if you have 2 other fire cards in your hand. But the other ones might say, hey, if you have more water cards than your opponents. So you see the backs of the cards to make that determination. And then so you can play certain cards. So sometimes you're waiting there and like, okay, I've got 2 water cards and my friend here has 2 water cards. As long as he plays one of those, then I'll be able to play this one. And then like he drafts another water card. And like, oh, what are you doing? And they don't know. We don't know what we're doing. I don't know what my opponents need or want. I'm just playing my cards. But it's so much fun. And then you have this board where it's got this sort of post-apocalyptic theme, but it's kind of like environmentally friendly because you're trying to clean up the planet and stuff like that. So it's got that sort of theme going for it. And it's your basic, like put in resources and clean up, create cities and things like that. But just the card play is just so much fun, so interesting, and it's very puzzly. And I love a good puzzle to play. And this is one of those games where it's just a good puzzle. And there's certain things you can do to increase your powers and stuff to so that you can get more resources in order to put out your cities quicker and stuff. And it's a race game too. So you gotta. It's the first person to put out 5 tree houses, and the game's over. And so it's a race as well on top of it, and it's brilliant. It's just a genius game that I just don't think is getting enough love. Like I don't know if it just came out at the wrong time, but yeah, it's a great game.
It's crazy how so many different things can affect a game release and its attention that it gets.
A couple questions about the game. So those card holders, they look like the card holders kind of from Red Rising. Do they work well? Do they want to? Are they top heavy? Do they tend to want to tip, or they work pretty good?
I think they work pretty good. They're plastic.
Okay.
Kind of
And
look like the Nidavellir card holders.
Yeah.
Look,
Like
they have
it's
enough base to keep it from wanting to tip. Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, that's
it's like that, and
kind of
you can see that it's taller on one
All on one
side.
side.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine.
So they
Okay.
work well. I haven't had too many problems with them.
Second thing is, windmills cause cancer, so be careful with that.
Oh boy.
And then,
Oh no!
Here we go.
and then the
Base-
third thing, on the side of that box, could you hold that up again? That was
Yeah, sure.
on the bottom of it, where your hand is at. Yes,
Yeah.
Boîte de jeu.
What did you?
That they make some cool games.
He
Like,
does speak French.
yeah.
I can fake a good French
game called
accent.
We.
They did a game called Outlive. I keep trying to get Mike to play.
Oh right,
Yeah.
I live. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very
Um,
post-apocalyptic,
Mhm.
fixing your fallout shelter type of stuff.
Mhm.
Looking at that box cover, I thought I saw Vincent Dutray art, and sure
Yeah,
enough,
it is Vincent Dutray.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
it
I
is Vincent
just-
Dutray.
gotta say that plus the dual side of the cards and the puzzly nature of this. Of all the games mentioned tonight, I haven't played that I want to buy. This is the one. You got me on this one. This
Oh,
one looks
it's-
really good.
Are you
It's-
buying it?
It's excellent.
Let's see what. Hey, there's used copies on BGG for like $20. So there you go.
Doesn't get enough love, so take advantage of
No.
it.
Clearly. French designer as well. I'm just curious. It is probably butcher that name. Joachim Tomei.
I think it's
Um,
Joaquin Tomei.
There we go.
Yeah, Joaquin Tomei, and
Yeah, and I'm
yeah.
unfamiliar with his other designs, so definitely needs more love.
It's also released by Hachette. I think that's my cop. It's Boîte de jeu and Hachette.
Oh, they boys like Hachette here.
Yeah, Hachette.
The French designers are just like
Yeah.
the French
Crushing it.
publishers are really, really killing it. lately.
For a while, it was the Italians, and now it's the French.
Yeah, seriously.
Zutolo. Yeah, I don't know.
This one looks really good. I really want to play
Hmm.
this.
Yeah. You should buy
Yeah.
that, Mike.
If I see you guys again, I'll gladly play this. I love this game so much.
I keep trying to
Yes.
pressure Mike into buying more games because he should buy more games.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna hit up some game stores next week. We'll see what happens. Nice. Yeah, this one looks pretty. This one looks really cool.
Yeah, it does.
Hmm.
And I can't afford to buy it, Mike.
All right. So my number one. This is not my favorite game on the list. I just thought it was the game that needed the most love. And it's actually even tricky to look up on BGG. Like I have to like go through a different game to pull it up. So I'm actually stalling here. Okay, there it is. I gotta go through that one and then I gotta get to this one. Okay, so this came out in 2022. This is ranked 12,512. And we actually reviewed this for the channel. And then I decided to give this more love because when I looked at all of the reviews on BGG, we have the only one that's in English. This is 1%, a game of strategic chance. We have
Look, Amelia,
the only English review of this game on BGG. The only one. That is crazy to me because, and I thought maybe this was too light or too, but then like Bob threw out Ahoy Kitten, which has 2 mechanics. And this one has like 4 or 5. And I don't care. It's just another game that is very fun to play. So
Mhm.
what this game is basically it's a play off of Liar's Dice. So if you know Liar's Dice, somebody's going to place a bid, and let's say it's 4. And the next person has to raise or call. How many 4s are out there? All right. Well, in this game, you're holding cards that are suits, and you can say, all right, I think there's 4 stars between everybody's hand on the table, and the person to your left either calls your bluff and says, nope, I don't think there's 4 stars, or they can raise it, but they can also change the suit. When you actually get to that standoff part where somebody gets called, everybody who was correct in their call then does this like sudden death mode where they're going to play again until there's one winner, and that one winner can instantly win the game at any time, because what you're doing is trying to roll 2 zeros on a d20 or a d10.
2d10.
So you start the game with 2 d10s, and you actually roll. Whoever rolls the lowest starts the game. But what's weird is that there's a 1% chance of rolling double zeros.
You can win the game during setup.
Yeah, you can win the game during setup. So they literally have the time played as like 1 minute to 20, 1 minute to 30.
Yeah.
And it's actually crazy because when you win that standoff, you get to choose rewards. And what those rewards are is you're actually adding a tableau of cards that increase your chances of rolling the winning numbers. At first, zeros are the only numbers you can roll that win the game. Well, you can pick up a 1. Now ones can win you a game. So if you roll 2 1s or a 0 and a 1 or still double zeros, you can win. And so every turn, if you win that liar's dice kind of standoff, you increase your chances by building up a tableau of odds.
Of winning numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. It is just really fun to play. Like when you roll that winning number, okay, maybe that's it. It is tricky to find. Edward was correct. I'm curious. Card House is a very small online site.
Yeah, I would recommend, like, the 1% is fine, but there's an Evil Dead version, which
I don't know that that's out yet, but it's coming.
Okay. Yeah, it's literally just slapped on there, but in my opinion, it made the game more fun because you're talking about chainsaws and
severed heads and severed hands
and stuff like that. Yeah, we played that version also and ranked it. Yeah, there's the 1 to 30 minutes. And
this one's even better. I agree.
Yeah,
but yes, it's not out yet.
The art on it is better. It's not just plain numbers. It actually has a little bit of flavor to it. So if you can, I would get that one, but
not out yet.
It's still a fun game.
Yeah, it just creates, for what it is, in this small box, how quickly you can play it. It can create those moments where you just stand up celebrating because you rolled the winning numbers. And sometimes you can do it on your first roll and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then other times nobody can roll the winning numbers and it will go the full 25, 30 minutes. Yeah. You're just waiting for somebody.
We actually did that in our playthrough. Didn't you? In that, Mike, like we went to like set up where you like rolled the first time and you won. We're like, oh, that's it.
Oh, that's one game. Let's play again.
Yeah.
We reacted and played again because it was like literally like 3 or 5 minutes. We're like, all right, let's actually play a couple of rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I love these small little dice card games that just have those really fun moments like that. I don't.
Yeah.
Have you guys played Don't Llama Dice? Because it's
I love the llama games. The Don't Llama Dice. Just llama.
I love that game. Yeah. So
there you go.
So,
this isn't my favorite game on the list, but I decided to rank them differently for this. It's the game that needed the most love. I just don't know a lot of people that have heard of this game, that have played this game. And of course, when it becomes easier to find when this Evil Dead campaign fulfills, I highly suggest you check it out. It is a lot of fun to play.
Agreed. Do we want to bust through some honorable mentions really fast?
Yeah,
sure.
Bob, why don't we go through? We'll just go in order. Like Bob, you just go through a bunch of yours, like real quick. I'll bust through mine. I'll be brief.
Sure. A lot of mine already got talked about. Right, Shadow Network, Letters from Whitechapel, Lunar Rush, but one that did not. And it's ranked kind of high. It didn't meet the criteria, which is why I got disqualified. It was ranked 918. But I feel like this game gets overshadowed by all of his other games because Eric Lang has made some bangers. But in 2015, he came out with XCOM the board game.
I was going to say XCOM.
I love that game. And I actually I was going to bring my copy, but I saw the QsCon library's got it. So I'm hoping that we can get a crew together and play it while we're up there. Because I've been wanting to play this game.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up. It's a good game.
How'd that just fall, Cat?
Oh.
Hi, meow.
Well, good news. Your cat has not been eaten yet. So you're
I know.
still...
I thought Gretchen might have got hungry.
Are you in Springfield?
Yeah.
Lord.
Man,
No.
I'm going to just tell you that United States politics is the gift that keeps giving if you have
Yeah.
any appreciation for humor. That is for
Yeah,
sure.
no.
Sure.
Yep.
Hilarious.
Well, I mean, it's funny. It's like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. It's like everything is burning around you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gallows humor. You laugh or you cry. All right, Bob, what else do you have for honorable mentions?
I guess technically I did have Soul, The Last Days of a Star.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
game.
we reviewed that, and I kickstarted it, and it came with like a cool insert and everything. But I love those bits. I love the flying your ships into like a formation and then turning them into something else as they kind of like transform into it. Like that's super clever. Like I really enjoyed that one. And then one last one, real quick, from 2022, ranked 1684, Terracotta Army. It's got that moving board that I really enjoy. Yeah. I love the building of the actual terracotta pieces and scoring more points off somebody's point scoring thing than they do. Like that's just super satisfying to me.
That was a game I was like super hyped for, and it was like, you know, potentially a big release at Gen Con, and then nothing. Yeah, you know, like.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Like I kickstarted it. I played it. Jonathan, he was really into it. He's the one that actually taught us how to play. And then
night, Andrew.
But that's a good one. Really enjoyed that the spinning action selection thing, and that's super clever. So.
That's a Kwapinski design too. It's probably his most underrated game.
Yeah. So.
All right, I'm gonna so the newest one maybe on my list would have been After Us. That is ranked 2,267. That is just one of my favorite games. It is.
We're all big fans.
It's gonna be in my top 50 when we do top 50 this year. Like I just freaking love that game so much. It's really good.
Is that really low on the thing? That would have been on my list too.
It's 2,267. I'm like, this game is way better than that.
It's so good. Yeah.
You know what's crazy is that it either fell or went higher. I had it at 2,272. So depending on the day you look, these games change all the time.
Yeah. I looked up. Well, what's funny is I made my list and then I was like, oh, the guys will probably have the numbers ranked. So I looked up all the numbers today. So it did move up a little bit, I guess.
It's moved up. That's good.
I will mention one that we've talked about on this show a ton, but it is a really good game that is out of print, but you can find it for a good price. And that is Court of the Dead Mourner's Call. This is a really unique worker placement territory, I guess territory control, right? Or area majority. Game, but you're like basically like hell, like the rulers of hell are distracted, and so basically all these other factions are lobbying to take over. But this has a beautiful game board, incredible miniatures, and great card art, and just really cool mechanics. Lots of neat stuff in there. Bob, I thought for sure you would have ranked 2,611. You Don't Mess with Cthulhu. Super fun, very light, you know, hidden traitor kind of game. Plays very fast. I did end up leaving off of my list Catan Starfarers, which is the greatest Catan, but that is rated 1,700. I strongly recommend, especially the most recent reprint, which is probably like 5 years old now, but still really good. That's the version. If you get any version of Catan, that's the one. It's amazing. At 1249 Marvel Remix, which is my favorite of the Fantasy Realms spin-offs. There's a new one coming out, not Marvel, but it's a Fantasy Realms spin-off. There's a new one that's coming out really soon, and I forgot what the theme was, but it looked interesting.
Is it the biblical one? Is it Old Testament fantasy team or something like that?
No, I think
not that one. Okay,
it might be like Lord of the Rings, or it's like a popular IP. But I'd be interested in seeing what the religious one looks like too. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
But anyways, I love Marvel Remix. It's a great game. I had lost lost my copy for an entire year until one of our co-hosts, Dan, is like, hey, I found your Marvel Remix. It was in my bag of games from Gen Con last year. After I asked a million people, have you seen my copy of Marvel Remix? I almost rebought it so many times. And I'm like, no, it's going to turn up. No, it's going to turn up. It turned up. I wouldn't have been mad if I had replaced it, though, because I do love that game. And honestly, one of my favorite games out of this that I didn't mention, I think like it more than Heat. It is fiddlier, but it is a racing game, and I don't care about NASCAR at all. Could not be it. I just don't care about NASCAR. But Thunder Alley from GMT is a really, really good representation of a NASCAR race. You get wear and tear on your vehicles. You're racing a team of cars. There's like a push and pull mechanic with drafting. And so you're pulling like lines of cars. So there's really big swings in it that are really good. Not to take anything away from Heat, but Heat is sort of like Diet Thunder Alley. Thunder Alley has a little more complexity to it. But again, like I said, a little fiddlier. Would not think I would like this game at all. Because again, I do not care about stock car racing. I really don't. I do love sports, but just racing is just not one that appeals to me. This game's amazing. Love it. So Thunder Rally, if you like racing games, is a really good representation. Andy,
right.
I'm done. What are your honorable mentions, sir?
I just got two. One of them is Luxor. I don't know if you know this game.
Heard of it, but have not played it. Yeah.
It's really cool. It has it's a card play mechanism. You have 5 cards in your hand. But basically it's one when you get the cards dealt, you have to keep your hand in order because you can only play the
cards. Yes, I like that mechanic.
Yeah, and then when you pick a new card, it goes into the center of your hand, and then so you have to strategize that. But it's basically movement. You're just basically playing a card to say how many steps you're going to move. It's really simple, but you have 4 explorers to work with, and you have to get them on certain spots at the same time in order to collect treasures and stuff like that. It's brilliant. It's a great game. And then finally, I have to mention this one because it's a family favorite. My kids and I have been playing this one. It's called Oceanos.
I've heard of this game. It looks beautiful. I would love to hear about it.
It's a beautiful game. Huh?
It's yellow, Bob.
Yes, but it's a fun game because it's a very clever drafting mechanism, because unlike most drafting games, you have a thing of cards, you pick one, you pass the cards. This one captain doesn't get any cards dealt to them. Everyone else gets cards, and then everyone gives them the rejects to the captain. The captain picks from those ones, right? And the captain changes place. And my kids and I, so at one point, the kids, I was the captain, and the kids picked their cards, and they gave me their cards. And I looked at them, and I was like, oh, what is this garbage you guys gave me? And for the rest of the game, they kept going, let's give Daddy garbage. Let's give Daddy garbage. And Oceanos forever changed its name to the garbage game instead. Not that it's a garbage game, but basically it just became that. It's just memories with my kids for this one. So and again, right, the wonderful thing about this hobby is you're going to create all of these memories, these random memories. They're so specific and unique to you and your own experience, and they're just as important and valuable. You know what I mean? I love it. So those are mine.
All right, Mike.
Awesome. Great picks. All right. So 2022 release, we got a review actually coming out within the next week or so, and it's The Great Split. The Great
so good.
Split is a 7-player I split you choose game. I start with some cards. I split them. I hand half or as many as I want. I could send 1 card to the right and 4 cards to the player on the left, or I could split them down the middle. But then they're going to do the same, and then you're going to choose those cards, and all those cards allow you to move up tracks and have different ways of scoring on each track. Great Split was very fun, and I just learned it this year and loved it.
I love that game.
I didn't realize that game was as old as it was. Like, I thought it was a new release when I played it.
It's a 2022 release and it's ranked 2042.
Yeah, that could have been an honorable mention. And that's one of those, that's an example of a game that has a mechanic that I don't always love. But there's two I Split You Choose games that came out in the last year that I became aware of in the last year that I genuinely enjoy, and that is The Great Split and Charcuterie. Because I don't know, like I didn't like New York Slice is one that like famously did that was popular for a while. I don't know. Sometimes I just don't love that mechanic. But like Sword Crafters does it. I like it in Sword Crafters. I like it in I really liked it in Great Split, and I really liked it in Charcuterie. So good pick.
The thing about Great Split is that it's simultaneous play too.
Yes, it's so fast. Good point, Andy. Yes.
No downtime.
7 rounds. I think you're done in like 20 minutes. It's so quick. Yeah.
It is very quick.
Played a full player count with Teach at a small convention back in May. And I man, if that game was 40 minutes, you know, like I'd be shocked. And that was with like us BSing and like maybe like check a rule. Like that wasn't even like everybody just like, you know, I mean, that was like a slow play of that game. And I was really impressed and enjoy the Art Deco like vibe and style of that too, right?
Weberson Santiago.
Good designer.
Actually, very different from his normal style, but one of my favorite artists.
Yeah. Good artist. Yeah.
I talk about this a lot, but a Great Split does a couple things that I look for in games, and that's very little downtime and being able to support 5 or more players while being a strategic game. There's so many games that are 6 or 7 players, but they're party games or they're social deduction. And I like those games, but sometimes I want to keep a big group together and we can all play a thinky game. And this does that.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's give some love to a Toronto publisher, Kids Table Board Game. And one of my favorites from them is Fossilis, ranked 2,573.
David Diaz.
Good friend of mine.
Right on.
Yep.
We'll see him in a week. He'll be at QSCon.
QSCon. This is a great game. The acrylic tiles are incredible. I really like the art and that tactical feel. I do that all the time. Tactile feel of using those tweezers to pull the bones out. I thought was going to be gimmicky. I thought it was for kids. I enjoy doing that so much.
Yeah, too.
And the set collection is meaningful and clever. I really enjoy Fossilis a lot.
Yeah, it's a great game. I remember playing the prototype with him, and I was like, David, this is so amazing. Like, I hope you get picked up. I remember because David and I were conversing and seeing which one, like, is it going to be the Spill or the Lux or Fossilis that's going to be published first? And he got his out the door first. So it was great. It was just great.
Yeah, he just beat you. This one came out in 2020, and of course, anything that came out in 2020 never really got as much love as it deserved.
Yeah. COVID year, like, it was really hard for everybody, right? But yeah, good point. But that game's really good. Yeah, you're right, Mike. More people need to know about that game. It's again, super cool components and everything too.
Big fan. I'll rattle off a couple more real quick. Let's go down south this time. Mexican publisher Draco Studios and Dodo's Riding Dinos. 2021 release, ranked 2046. It's a racing game with a dexterity element. It really feels like Mario Kart. You're actually flicking eggs at other players that can knock them off the track. It's very chaotic and fun. You just can't take yourself too seriously. But there is one mechanic I really love. There's 3 different tiers of cards. The best ones are the red ones. Well, why wouldn't you just play the red ones all the time? Well, if too many people play red cards, you negate the action. So you got to pick when to use those powerful red cards. And so all of that reverse psychology plus dexterity and chaotic racing makes for a game I really enjoy.
I haven't played that one yet, but it sounds like a game I would love because I love chaos in games.
It's a blast.
Yeah.
All right, last one. This is a 23 release, but this rating is crazy from I always get them. It's not Burnt Island. It's Forbidden Games. This is ranked 11,992 in Glenn Drover's co-designed Fairies and Magical Creatures.
That was
This
fun.
this game does deck building, it does action selection, it has a polyomino element, and all of it works really well. It gives you multiple different ways to score. You can score based off how well you built your deck. You can go heavy on the polyomino scoring. And the action selection, one person picks an action, but everybody gets to do it. So you're kind of timing when other people are going to pick the actions that you actually want. And that action selection mechanic is really good.
Yeah, because when you take that action and everybody else takes it, you can enhance it with one of the cards you play.
Yeah. Thought that one was really good. It is
I
a
wanna play
23
that.
release, so that's limited the amount of time they can move up the rankings. But 11,600 is pretty crazy for a Glenn Drover game.
Sir.
Yeah.
Glenn
Sir, yes, we call him Sir. We call him Sir Glenn Drover because I don't know. It sounds like
Friend of the show.
sounds like a thing. Yeah, we met him once, so we call. And I told him, I was like, "Well, we're gonna call you a friend of the show," and he's like, "Oh, please do."
Yeah,
he was very nice when we met him.
he was very
I liked him. Yeah, he was fun.
Very simple to learn. I forgot it even has area majority in it. You're trying to take control of territories by having the most cubes in an area.
Yeah.
It's really like a hodgepodge of mechanics, but it actually really does work.
You know, I have to go back really quick to Fossilis because now that I'm thinking about it and thinking about the stuff that Andy was talking about earlier, that sounds like a game that Andy could have designed, and let me tell you why. Not to take anything away from David Diaz.
Lasers.
But if somebody said, make me a game that it feels like you're working an actual archaeological site, that sounds like the germ that would get Andy to then design a game where the board is literally an archaeological site where you were physically pulling out the pieces. David, unfortunately beat you to it. But that sounds like how Andy comes up with his games, right? Like I was just thinking about this, and it's like, it makes sense that these guys know each other because I wonder if they kind of work maybe from like similar origin points.
I think David is a huge dino.
Oh, right on.
Like he just loves dinosaurs. So like he showed me another prototype where it was like dinosaurs just battling each other.
Nice.
But you guys should have him on because he's great to talk to.
You know what? We're gonna get the opportunity to talk to him. I got to meet him at Origins last year, and he was very cool. But I know we're going to be at the same convention, and it's not a gigantic one like Gen Con next week. So I'm really like, you are right, Andy. Andy, you are full of good ideas. Are you sure your wife didn't recommend that? Because it sounds like it's such a good idea that it probably came from her. But yeah, David would be an amazing guest because he also does a lot of like Kickstarter video. You know what I mean? Like his designs. His like video design stuff is just out of this world, right? Talk about people with like tons of talent, you know, all kinds of different avenues. But I'm gonna tell him and be like, listen, a mutual friend of ours, Sir Andy Kim of Toronto, recommended that we hang out, and then he can't say no, right?
Yeah, no. Just tell him. I told him to go on the show. So
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, what an awesome idea for a list, Andy. This was that
was fun.
It's really fun. And also like, thank you for coming on. I know we've talked like a little bit like off and on and stuff, but like I just appreciate you being willing and like game for this kind of thing, because you know it can always be a little, you don't know us super well, you know, so like whenever it's like a first time guest kind of thing, I always hope that they feel at ease, but you've been there with like a big smile on your face the whole time, and I love it. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me on. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Love hanging out with you guys.
That's all we want to hear is that you had fun, and we had a lot of people commenting in the chat. I feel like they had a good time. We're now all waiting for writer's block, so we would.
So am I.
Yep.
I will tell you, I think the worst thing about like being in our position, this is like boohoo, is we have seen some games that have never seen the light of day, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, man, I wish that game came out or got made, you know, because we've seen stuff like, whether it was like a Kickstarter that didn't go, or even just saw prototypes that just never made it to that next stage. And it's so cool to have the opportunity to see some of those things. But then it's like, why didn't that get made? Like, that's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I really want it to be made. I'm really proud of this game. Like, even for me, like I think this one's a better game than The Spill.
The Spill, yeah.
Personally. Like I like, yeah, it's such a fun game.
Now, listen, I do not know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to make a random, or I'm going to ask you a question that you might just be like, well, that's the dumbest question I've ever been asked. Have you tried pitching it to like a Hasbro or like a Ravensburger or somebody like that? Okay. See, dumb question.
Yeah, I have.
Because it does seem like something that if I saw that at like a Target, you know what I mean, or a Barnes and Noble, like it wouldn't be like, what is this game doing here? You know what I mean? Like
it seems like it fits.
Yeah, and I mean that as a compliment, right? Because I know that there's some designers that I've talked to and stuff that are like, if you could hit like an evergreen mass market game, like that's the dream, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. No, I won't tell you who I pitched it to.
No, totally fair. Totally.
Some of the
big boys, right?
The big boys I have talked to, and they, just for whatever reason.
Sure.
There were good reasons. I'm not saying that they were bad reasons, but there were some good reasons.
Listen, it's got to fit what they're trying to do, and all those things, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Timeline, price, theme.
Yeah. No, I totally understood from where they're coming from. So, So I'm just hoping someone will take a risk on it. And I know any game that's pitched is going to be a risk, right?
You know what? Here's what we do, Mike. Mike, we use your connections at Bezier Games. We put a werewolf theme on this thing, and we just go with it. There,
boom,
done.
There we go.
Yes,
done.
Well, yeah,
that's what I'm doing. I make it weird and awkward.
Take a big
hey,
silence.
Thumbs up in the chat. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button before you get out. I'm sure most of you have the regs. We see you guys on all the time. We appreciate you showing up.
Yep.
But this has been awesome, Andy. Thank you again. You're a good sport. I would love to have you on again and have you hang out with us with another list. You do not have to have a game coming out to show up. Right. If you do, fine. We'll talk about that too. But we just love having fun people on and obviously passionate about the hobby. And playing games.
Oh, great. No, I loved being here. That was great.
You guys got anything else before we sign off?
Nope. Looking forward to some CouzCon action in a couple of weeks. So
have fun.
Are we still doing a show next Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm doing a show. You guys are going to do, I thought you guys were going to pop in from the road, right?
We're going to try. Yes.
Yeah. So
we should already be in Syracuse by then. We have our hotel for Wednesday night.
Perfect.
So we'll be settled in and we'll be here.
Tim,
you want to talk about who we have next week?
Oh yeah. Quick? So we're going to have designer Matt Hansen, who designed a game that I really liked a lot. I think Bob liked it too. Reality Shift. And we're going to do board game components. Which makes sense because Reality Shift had the magnetic cubes. Yeah, it was really cool. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do those, and then hopefully these boys pop in from New York. We'll go along with that. Started the list late and ended early. A fine show. Thank you, Andrew. This is, you say early. I will be so happy if I'm in bed by 11 o'clock.
Nice.
My alarm clock will thank me. But yeah, man, this has been awesome. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. And
thanks for coming on, man. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Indeed. Great topic and loved a lot of your picks and several I want to pick up and look into.
I am looking. I wrote down, I have to find Turia and Oceanos, and then I'm going to be seeing where I can watch After School Dice Club with my daughter. I think my wife will be happy that we're not watching an anime that's like not about, demons or eating demon fingers. What is it? Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, yeah.
And then Demon Slayer. Like my daughter and I have watched like all the Demon Slayer stuff. She cosplayed as Muchiro at a C2E2 in Chicago last spring. So she's really big in it. I am adjacent, but I just enjoy sort of, pop culture and stuff. So, and if she's into it, I want to kind of hang out with her and do stuff. And she's also getting into My Hero Academia. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
So if you got any good recommendations, Andy, fire them my way. Shoot me a message.
Sure.
And
it'll probably be just ones that my kids are watching. So
yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. And I'm gonna find that Genshin Impact tarot game because my daughter will be. I actually ordered her on eBay. I ordered her a bunch of the CCG. There's a collectible card game.
Yeah.
So.
My kid would know the name. I can't remember.
Yeah, I got her some booster boxes because they weren't that expensive. So I got her some booster boxes of the cards and stuff. And I don't know that. I'm like, do you know how to play this? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. But I don't know that she. I don't know if she does or not. I think she,
spoken like a true Aberly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know how to play this. Let me teach you.
Tribes of the Wind. That's the one I really want.
Tribes of the Wind. Yeah, also looks really good.
So good. Yeah.
Also looks really good. This game.
Yeah. All right, boys. We will call it a night. We'll sign off from here. But so thank you again, Andy. Everybody, keep your eyes out for Writer's Block. Eventually, one day, it'll be there. We're gonna speak this into existence. But if you really like difficult co-ops with an awesome theme, and check out the Spill. Watch our video. We raved about it. So
yeah.
Speaking about a game that needs more love,
no doubt. I didn't put it on my list because I didn't want you guys to be like, "Oh, Tim's pandering to the host." Blah blah blah.
It legitimately could have. I considered it.
Yeah, it could have been. Could have been. All right, guys. For the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
I was Bob.
Yes. Andy.
Oh, I'm Andy.
Yes.
How was Mike?
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
See ya.
We'll see you guys.
Good
next
job,
time.
Stonemeyer. A 7.3 repeating. 3 heating. 3 heating. 3 3 heating.